biopsy to check for cancer. Confirmation. Is this house MD? Are we treating a blood cancer without actually confirming it yet? For 2 years, you've been having a cancer treatment without confirming there's actually cancer there?
A lot of red flags there. And by the way, it gets way worse. As soon as the accusations are thrown, the man looks guilty as f. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a psychology expert, but if I was arguing with this guy, I'd be like, oh, okay. That seems like a crazy way to respond to that.
Because it was in my blood markers, and that's pretty goddamn definitive. You can Google that, Destiny. When you have the hormones, when you have the hormone in the blood that is produced by this cancer, it's pretty goddamn definitive.
He starts shutting down, playing the victim, says, "Put the headline," shuts down all the questions that are brought against him. It's totally nonsensical. The good thing about medical stuff is you can just say, here's proof from a doctor. Here's proof from a doctor, you know. There's written proof because doctors do things professionally. He is repeatedly asked during the call to release his medical records to vindicate himself because it would be incredibly easy.
Can you get your patient portal up on your phone and like send it to Tommy?
I'm not going to.
But he flat out refuses each time for some reason. I have no idea.
You won't prove it?
I'd rather you go ahead and print it.
If this is true, and you lied about cancer, this is the biggest scandal on the fucking internet.
And it's not.
I don't know if it's out of pride or maybe because he's lying about all of it.
If he wanted to disprove it, all he has to do is show a private party this particular medical thing, and yeah, it would be.
To summarize, Jesse, you're basically saying he's kind of unlucky he doesn't have cancer.
And to speak to that, Boogie even went as far as to say that his doctor could have been lying to him about his diagnosis in order to gain clout from just being associated with Boogie.
I guess it's possible he's been lying to me for clout. I guess it's possible that he's been giving me.
I don't think he's lying to you, Boogie.
That is something that no human being with a functioning brain would ever say. My life left my body as I watched. This is my favorite drama of all time because it makes me grateful to not be like these people. But at the same time, being an internet guy, it makes me sad to be alive. Boogie also just pretended, it seemed like, to read out his full diagnosis sheet, and when asked if he could share the PDF with everyone on the call, he completely refused.
You should be able to go right into diagnoses, and it's going to list everything that a doctor's ever said you had.
Yep, I just read it to him.
Okay, and so it lists the cancer there?
Yes.
Okay, so you could screen cap that and just show it. I mean, that's what I did, and then that would be the end of it.
Absolutely. And I made the decision 2 years ago that I would not do that.
Then, to make the situation for Boogie substantially worse, Keemstar and Wings bring up the fact that in order for Boogie to have boxed in Creator Clash in April of 2023, he would have had to have a clean medical examination, a clear bill of health. I just threw up a little bit. Sorry.
Go ahead.
When we did the fight, there was this big packet of papers that we had to fill in to get a boxing license. And on that packet of papers, you had to say everything that you're being diagnosed with. Would you not have access to that from Happy Punch?
Ooh.
But Boogie's retort to this was the claim that his form of cancer wasn't serious, and that was the reason as to why he was able to enter the ring, because it's not a big deal, man.
Well, I thought it was 2 years.
Hold on. If Boogie had cancer, how the hell did they let him fight?
Because it's polycythemia vera, not fucking ass cancer.
Don't you know that my cancer is not that big of a deal? My cancer just entitles me to steal money from my audience and farm sympathy points. That's what my cancer is. It's not actually gonna hurt me in any. Did you think it was actually gonna hurt me? No. My cancer is just so I can spin a narrative to exploit people and manipulate and lie. And I'm a genius, or at least I think I am, but in reality, I'm merely a child. I am a child. I have the brain of a 7-year-old boy. Pretty unfortunate. The amount of lies that can just be proven based on body language and claims that are easily traceable just on Twitter is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So yeah, man, that's the podcast. That's what happened. I would say at this point, there is no way that Boogie has any genuine kind of following. The only people that will be watching him from now on are people who just enjoy lolcows. He's a full-on lolcow. He has zero chance at redemption, and he will be exploited from now on. Just completely exploited. Like I'm exploiting him right now by making this video. What I'm doing is doing no good. I'm not teaching, you watch out for this type of behavior, whatever. This is just exploiting him, which he deserves. I mean, let's be real. This situation with Boogie reminds me of something that happened to me in regard to the scam that I went through that a lot of you all know about. On July 23rd, 2022, Jake gets sick for the first time. He's got pneumonia. Not good, man. I feel bad for him, obviously. There's a video, 2 videos actually, where I sort of teased a bunch of stuff, and then the guy who scammed me responded. He tries to garner sympathy with these texts. He sends me a list of stuff to buy. He tries to give me, explanation as to how dire his situation is. I said, I can't help him because I have my own financial stress and I have no money. And magically the next day, he does, no worries. He figures it out, guys. Don't worry. We're good. I had a guy do the same shit that Boogie is doing to his audience to just me. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't let it go. I didn't let it go. And I think that if you've been exploited by Boogie, you shouldn't let it go. You should figure out some form of consequences. Figure something out. I'm not saying violence or putting anyone in danger. It's not worth all of that. But if you have a lawyer or a platform or anything like that, do your best. Do your best. Let's figure out some form of consequence. Because I think lying about medical shit and misappropriating funds is about as evil as it can get, like really without actually hurting someone or creating victims. Anyways, we'll get back to the medical stuff here in a minute, but after a while of the podcast going down, the fallout on Twitter, Destiny honing the poor, I don't know, he's not poor, I mean, he's pathetic for sure. He had a full-on breakdown and decided that the best move would be to strip down and get naked to prove that he wasn't lying or whatever. It's insanity. I don't really know, dude.
So your shred of privacy is this, but not being naked on film, not talking about fucking whores,
Yeah, I'll
not
get
talking
naked
about
right
being
now. I'll
bankrupt.
get naked right
Do
now.
it. Take it off.
Talk about
Let's
that.
do it.
This guy's a major victim complex, like we mentioned in the video from a week ago, and he will do anything to gain sympathy or money from anybody. He is a lost cause. Him having cancer for 2 years was part of that complex, and I'd go as far as to say one of the main reasons people probably still follow him, because that's like something you can relate to. Everybody knows somebody who's been affected by cancer. People die all the time. It's like the 3rd or 2nd leading cause of death. It's not really something you should exploit and lie about. You're probably gonna get it one day, no matter what. But it isn't like an internet thing. This is real life. This is not pretend crypto nonsense. This is like real shit. You know what I'm saying? And this guy right here lied for 2 years to some extent to make money. Based. So yeah, he's a compulsive liar. No one will ever trust Boogie again. He's the boy who cried wolf. He probably will get cancer now, in all honesty, if the world is fair, and it will be ugly, I'm sure, and no one will help him because that's just kind of how the world works. So now on to the aftermath of all of this. Boogie deactivated all of his social media. CoffeeZilla called him, talked to him, and grilled him about this shit, which is so badass. You can watch his video if you want.
I'm saying
I'm not used to this level of scrutiny.
I can tell. A YouTuber we accused of a crypto scam just got accused of faking cancer.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Despite being offered a total of $80,000 to prove everyone wrong if he could show his diagnosis to a private third party, he refused to do so, which is annoying because publicly he uses his cancer as a shield from any wrongdoing. In fact, when I confronted Boogie on his crypto scam, that's one of the reasons he used.
I'm in pretty dire need of money. I have a lot of medical bills, and I'm fighting cancer.
And more specifically, why he had to promote the coin and couldn't pay back $5,000.
The money's already spent. It's at Mercy Hospital right now. It's gone. I used it to pay debts.
I'll be honest, I have no idea if Boogie is faking cancer. I also don't understand why he wouldn't just show it if he had a diagnosis, but either way, we won't know without an actual doctor involved. So I won't speculate on that. But what I can do is confront Boogie on this second claim, the cancer and medical bills, because I found out a few days ago that these statements were false. I know this because Boogie gave us a timeline of when he got paid in the first place. So when were you paid the $5,000?
5 days ago.
Later, I verified with Boogie this payment occurred on June 19th. And when Boogie said all the money was gone on June 26th, that gives us a window of time where he should have receipts for about $5,000 of medical expenses. Boogie, when I asked, agreed to share these expenses with me, and the following conclusions are based on him providing accurate records, which I know is a dubious idea, but when he shared what he had, it fell far short of even what I was expecting. He gave me 2 receipts for the time period, one for $154, the other for a copay of $60, a total of $214 by the time we talked. So where did the rest of the money go? Well, Boogie claimed that it was really intended for medical expenses after we spoke, and that when he said the money was gone, he meant it colloquially and then accused me of lying. Wait, that's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Yes! Have you never heard of the colloquialism? Yeah, that money's all gone, it's all spent. I have a specific thing I need to do with it. Have you never heard that colloquialism? Use fucking Google then! It's very common!
I'm saying...
I'm not used to this level of scrutiny! I'm not used to this level of scrutiny!
Yes. Okay, so I have a big problem with this, because looking back at what Boogie said, it wasn't just the money's gone, which already means very specifically the money's gone, but he also says the money's at Mercy Hospital right now, which is a colloquialism I've never heard before if you mean it's not at Mercy Hospital.
It's at Mercy Hospital right now.
But even being as charitable as I can, adding in everything he calls medical expenses outside of our time window, like there was an $1,000 credit card payment. Okay, we'll just say that's medical, right? He's still only able to get me to about $2,500 worth of medical expenses for the month, most of it not to Mercy Hospital, which I wondered about. Did he need the fatty coin then from where I was sitting instead of having spent the money on medical bills? It looked like he saved most of it because of his starting and ending bank balances for the month. Wait, you're taking... You paid about $2,500. Like you're also talking about money you haven't spent, which you're trying to add up to $3,000. That's not the $5,000 you said was gone. And then you're taking...
I told you it was $4,000 when we started this conversation, but of course you're lying about that too.
Boogie, can you explain exactly how you started the month with $800, ended it with $5,000? You're saying the $5,000 you made from a crypto scam has nothing to do with it.
I saved my ass off.
That's right. The $5,000 Boogie made from a crypto scam has nothing to do with the $5,000 sitting in his bank account right now. That's there because he pinched his pennies. Now, when I pointed out Boogie could have refunded the scam if he wanted to, he freaked out and told me he's got a mortgage to pay. Boogie, you need to pay that $5,000 back. You need to find a way to refund people.
If I do, I won't have...
It's not spent. You have $5,000.
No, well, I can't. I won't have mortgage.
But this is totally shifting the goalposts. Remember, the reason we were told the money was at Mercy Hospital right now, that was initially, now it's because he's got a mortgage. But also, Boogie had showed me his income for the last month, and it looked to me like the podcast is what paid for his mortgage. And so I asked, wouldn't that money pay for your mortgage? Boogie said, this month it wouldn't, because he had to go on a special trip, and his co-host was withholding all the money for that month.
Do you understand?
You're not getting a Where's your podcast payment coming from? You got that on the 30th.
I didn't fucking text so we could go for this goddamn trip. This money's coming out of my goddamn paycheck.
So you're going on a trip.
Yes, I'm being forced to go up there to film the fucking podcast live. I told him I didn't want to. He told me the business was going to pay for it. And then he just said he's taking it out of the check.
Now, later, I asked his co-host Keemstar about this, and he seemed surprised. He said the show definitely pays for Boogie's mortgage, so I was confused. Later, Boogie was confronted on this by his co-hosts, and Boogie suggested maybe I edited the clip out of context.
You told him that you weren't getting paid from this show. He played the fucking recording because he recorded you.
Then why? Then I understand that. Do you think people can edit things to be a little bit out of context?
Well, if he wants to play that game, here's the clip where Boogie directly says it. He says he's not getting paid. Boogie, you could have gotten through this month without the crypto scam, is what I'm saying.
And I could have not paid my friend back for covering my medical bills.
No.
And I couldn't. No, listen.
Well, I've seen your bank statement, so I know.
Because you're ignoring the fact that I need to pay mortgage.
Yes, your mortgage, right, which should have come from the podcast.
Coming in. There's no more money coming in between now and then.
Which should have come, but it should have come from the podcast. It's not.
Right, because I'm not getting paid this month because I have to travel to do an on-location shoot.
This guy is so manipulative. He has managed to move the story from the money's at Mercy Hospital right now to, well, I have $2,500 of medical expenses at some point in the month to, well, the reason I'm ending the month with $5,000 is because I'm such a great saver and I needed to pay my mortgage to, no, actually that mortgage was paid for too. The last point I want to address is the accusations he made against me on his show. He says he should have never taken a call with me. He says I recorded him without his consent, despite me telling him up front this was all going to be public and that I was approaching him for comment. This guy now acts like I tricked him.
I should have never talked to CoffeeZilla to begin with. It was a joke, CoffeeZilla.
Who told you that?
Of course you fucking did. Much less the second fucking time. Then in this, by the way, CoffeeZilla records you without telling you he records you.
It's not
Name a YouTuber does that.
He told me.
No, he did in the first time. In the first time.
Well, I think it's worth showing you then how he talked about me behind the scenes when he spoke with me, because it was very different to what he's saying now. Now he's saying I'm taking him out of context, that he didn't know what was going on. Here's what he was saying back then.
Amount of integrity. I really, really appreciate it.
Hey, no. I mean, to be honest, I'm happy to do it. It's something that I really like people to know ahead of time. I mean, it's not. I try to play a long game with YouTube. I'm not interested in like a quick video. Like, who cares? Like, I'd rather, you know, you look better and you get your point across than.
And it shows that you have the integrity that I believe you did. 110%. It means so much. Many YouTubers would not have done that for me, and you did. And I think that's incredible. And I even, no matter what you have to say in this video, I'll never have a bad thing to say about you. Even on the show, even on the low cow podcast, where my job is going to be to attack you back, I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, no, I think coffee was fair. I'll be genuine. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right.
I really appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
Brandon spoke to NATO leaders as Democrats are holding closed-door meetings over his candidacy. It's a big deal for Brandon. He's going full-blown. He's going full tilt. I'm the NATO guy. I don't think that is a solid way to win an election. I don't think you can run around and be like, I'm the NATO guy, Jack. Michigan, I'm the NATO guy. Wisconsin, I'm the NATO guy. I made NATO. Vote for me. Literally, perhaps one of the worst possible ways to run for president. Nobody gives a shit. Americans, historically, as we have talked about, don't give a foreign policy, which has been a very beneficial position for our robust defense contracts, our robust defense industry. It's great. It's great for them. Nobody gives a so we get to do whatever the we want. People don't even comprehend that like all the money that's going to those initiatives is actually money that could be going to, I don't know, fixing our fucking roads, beefing up our infrastructure for climate change, paying for healthcare, all these different things. Of course, we're not going to do that. The average American doesn't think about that. But because the average American also doesn't think about that, you can't run on that. That's not a thing that you can run on. You can't be like, I'm the fucking foreign policy president.
Biden spent the day at the NATO summit in Washington as many Democrats on Capitol Hill were struggling with his decision to stay in the presidential race. Nancy Cortez is at the White House. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. President Biden is set to meet with union leaders this morning. He spoke to Democratic mayors last night as he works to reassure worried Democrats. But every time the White House thinks things are calming down, a new challenge pops up.
Today, NATO is more powerful than ever.
Just as President Biden was looking to project strength with a speech to NATO leaders yesterday, House and Senate Democrats were holding tense, closed-door meetings.
You're riding with Biden. You're riding with Biden.
Are you all on the same page?
No.
I love how fucking old everyone is. Like on both sides of this conversation, even people who are like, yeah, Biden is too old to run, they're old as dirt. People who are like, nah, Biden is great actually. His age is perfectly fine. Old as dirt. It is just like, God, this is such a fucking gerontocracy. Oh my God. We are getting to a point where it's just like 75-plus-year-olds voting, and they're voting for 75-plus-year-olds. If you're over the age of 75, you run for office or you vote for someone who's running for office, and that's it. No one else. It's not important for you. It doesn't matter. We don't give a fuck about what you have to say if you are under the age of 75. If you're 74, suck my young buck. You ain't got a say in this conversation. You better see yourself out.
What do you mean you're not on the same page?
Not even in the same book.
They were discussing Biden's candidacy and polling that shows him slipping in battleground states. They're worried that a poor turnout for him could hurt them too. Last night, Colorado's Michael Bennet became the first Democratic senator to publicly say Biden can't beat Trump.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
New Jersey Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill urged Biden to help lead the process toward a new nominee.
Did you give them a heads up? I did. Did they try and stop you? They did.
But New York's Jerry Nadler, who told colleagues privately on Sunday that Biden should leave the race, now says he backs Biden.
The president made very clear.
That's the funniest part, that they just keep also swapping positions. Nadler was like, I don't know, maybe the president's fine. I don't know. It's like he was one of the first elder statesmen who is also elderly to come out and be like, yeah, this can't happen. Okay. And then now he's turning around and he's like, I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. It's so stupid. It's just, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Yes, Tim Kaine in the membrane, Tim Kaine in the brain, baby. Senator Tim Kaine, who Joe Khalil TV. I have complete confidence that Joe Biden will do the patriotic thing for the country, and he's going to make that decision. He's never disappointed me. Tim Kaine, dude. Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Democrats are talking about New York being a battleground state. I have never seen such panic in the Democratic Party. Like, Bernie Sanders potentially becoming the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party is literally not as scary for these motherfuckers, and that's the scariest thing. They're saying New York is a battleground state. That is not even correct, okay? That's like, even I would look at that and go, okay, you're being a little fucking ridiculous right now. Unless you are seeing something that I am not seeing, that is insane. That is just like an absolutely insane fucking take. Yeah, they're like, Massachusetts is gone. They're making a second Republican Party out there, okay? Like, Massachusetts has fallen. Vermont. Their internal polling must be dire. Yeah, it's just, I think they're a little bit hysterical, I'll be honest, but like, this is them trying to, increase the heat a little bit, slowly but surely turning the fucking dial, okay? Doing their very best to be like, Brandon, get the fuck out, without actually saying, Brandon, get the fuck out. What are you doing? You're old as dirt. Some of them have now started saying, Brandon, get the fuck out. You're old as dirt. But you have to understand a fundamental truth here that I have brought forward multiple times. If you're like, why aren't the Democrats saying this loudly and proudly? Why aren't the Democrats actually coming out of the gate swinging at Brandon? Because the one legitimate advantage that the Democratic Party has over the Republican Party for all of the moderate votes that they want to get, for all the independents that they want to get, that they are a competent party. They are not a chaotic party, as opposed to the Republican Party that is both chaotic and incompetent and crazy and also very far right. Democrats are supposed to show stability, so they can't.
New men's retreat just dropped, and this one is sus. The Bali Time Chamber is a boys-only getaway in the Bumblefuck Mountains of Bali, Indonesia.
No place like this place. What extraordinary men are made.
You go out on a limb or a tree branch and say that not a single extraordinary man was made in the Bali Time Chamber.
Everything is made to have a perfect day every day, to multiply our greatness. It's not just about training, it's not just about business, it's not just about relationships, it's about everything at the same time.
It's about men. It's about the boys. This is already so gay.
This is exactly what you need, the way you need it.
Everything that you're looking for
you're going to find that exactly here.
Except for
In today's world of distractions, social media, daily tasks and to-do lists that never end, societal pressures and isolated working and living conditions, why in these times of hyper-abundance do we as men feel more anxious?
You already know the production value is cracked, and they're not trying to compensate for anything because they're just match cutting what they're saying every 3 seconds.
More depressed, more lost than ever before. What is causing this feeling? We need a way to bridge this gap and provide the conditions for strong men to rise up again.
This is marketed to a very specific genre of dude. Young European who's lost in life. If you're an American, you see right through this. Why is it that every British dude on social media is lost in the sauce? They're constantly looking for a daddy figure that will tell them they need to lock in. No, I'm genuinely curious. If you're from the UK, please enlighten me why you can't get it together.
A center to create superheroes. The real-life version of the Dragon Ball Z hyperbolic time chamber, where everything is designed to help you grow like never before.
So that anything that comes our way,
I don't even think these guys are British, but to me, they're spiritually British.
is just gonna feel completely different because of the strength that we gained in this time here.
And it's crazy to see what can happen in 28 nights.
This has definitely been one of the most life-changing 2 weeks of my life.
Is this the Sigma leader? Who is this guy?
I've been changing, evolving. I found an inner strength and inner confidence in me by coming here.
You're around people who are pushing you to your potential.
You're around people pushing your shit in.
And using all the equipment here, the sauna, the cold plunge, all the different therapies that are here. I get to sleep and recover well, get to eat well, get to train really, really hard. And
start to make some money that I didn't even plan to do that.
Not only increased my earning potential, but I've made the money I spent on coming here back in sales. I've had my best month in business that I've ever had. I put on 3 kilos of muscle.
7 kg of muscle. I feel beastly.
Really? You put on 15 pounds of muscle in 28 days?
Freaking smashed all of my goals. Finished 5 books this month.
Finished 5 dudes this month?
If you are somebody who's motivated, who's looking for success and
getting to the next level in your life, I really urge you to come to Bali Time Chamber.
Be among the chosen 16 men. From an aesthetic point of view, I could see how this appeals to absolute midwits.
Oh my gosh, it's like Dragon Ball Z. I'm like Goku.
This is the Bali Time Chamber, a hub that was built for ambitious gays who want the perfect environment to train hard, eat well, and work on their businesses. It's a secret location in the mountains of Bali that has been designed to accelerate the growth of the men who attend. To do this, you have access to the best quality food, a gym next to your room, a sauna, ice bath, and hot tub with an epic view of the mountains. Maybe, just maybe, if I hit him with the cold plunge sauna, cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge, then I'll be a man. You gotta be a Neanderthal to think any of this is cool. Do you guys not have showers? I don't understand. Ready for this? Ready for this insane hidden tech? Crank the handle all the way cold. And then, when you get a little chilly, you turn it all the way hot. And then it starts to steam. It's just like a sauna. If we take a look at their Instagram, it's obvious this is a paid account. Dude, you haven't heard of the Bali Time Chamber? They're going viral on Instagram and TikTok, bro. No, I'm serious, dude. They have nearly 900,000 followers. Guys, I've been making YouTube videos for nearly 8 years now, okay? Hundreds of thousands, millions of views. You're gonna tell me that the Bali Time Chamber has racked up 900,000 idiots on their social media platforms? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Maybe, just maybe, these are real, genuine people. But I have a hard time believing it because their marketing strategy is really unique. They sent one film crew to document the entire compound and they have been chopping up and recycling the content ever since. Just slapping on the most ChatGPT AI-generated scripts I've ever seen.
This venue doesn't let any women enter. It only accepts men who want to work on their fitness, health, and business without any distractions. It's the first concept of its kind located in the middle of the mountains of Bali. Entering this place is like going to another dimension where everything is designed to help you grow. You have a restaurant that serves only healthy food all day, a private gym next to your room, a sauna, ice bath, and even direct mountain trails to discover the most beautiful waterfalls on the island. Most people stay a full month and get in their best mental and physical shape ever. Be quick if you want to join, because places are really limited.
900,000, 16 men.
Women can't access this place. It has been designed to help men retake control over their lives. The only thing you can do there is train hard, eat clean, work online, and exchange with other participants.
Oh, you can exchange with other participants, all right. Yeah.
It's a unique experience.
They're even getting rubbed down by other men.
Created to completely disconnect from the noise of the modern world.
Women are distractions. Women are just noise of the modern world.
And reconnect with the true meaning of life. The minimum stay is 1 week, and most people stay a whole month to become hyper-productive and smash all their goals.
I really like to think that they're baiting us with these scripts because the gay jokes and innuendos are too good.
Entrepreneurs, professional fighters, calisthenics athletes, and more are coming from all over the globe to live this experience. Will you be a part of it?
No.
No vegan can enter this place. It's a new concept of retreat that only accepts men who want to work on their health, eat high-quality meat.
Eat high-quality meat. You're gonna eat meat. There will be meat in and around your mouth. No vegans.
Train consistently, prioritize their sleep, reconnect with nature, experiment with hot and cold therapy, learn new skills, take a break from their routine, and exchange knowledge with other men in the same path. There is a selection process to access this place to make sure every participant will be a positive force for the group. Be quick if you want to participate because places are really limited.
There's this gym called Equinox, and for a fraction of the price, they have steam rooms, saunas, pools, gyms, rich people. You can do all of this and more within a couple minutes of your house.
No women, no distractions, no junk food, no smoking, no drugs, no video games, no laziness, no partying, no procrastination, no hookups, no toxic relationships, no scrolling, no Netflix. When you enter the Bali Time Chamber, the only thing to do is work on yourself. Train consistently, eat premium meat, do sauna.
Eat premium meat. Do sauna.
Walk to the waterfalls, reconnect with nature, build new habits, read books, do ice bath, meditate, exchange knowledge, learn new skills, get in your best shape ever, and network with other like-minded men.
Let's break this down for a second. These men are spending thousands of dollars to fly across the world and land in a third world country, which is hanging on by a thread thanks to tourist trapping Europeans and Western Instagram hoes. This should really be titled The Mental Masturbation Chamber, because if you're able to shell out a couple racks to attend this, I'm going to assume you have a roof over your head. Oftentimes, the answers to your problems are right in front of you, but these people will do anything to run away from them. Maybe if a rice farmer peasant cooks my steak 28 days in a row, I'll finally stop being a bitch. Instead of contributing to indentured servitude because you already know the locals who work here are making 3 pinto beans a month, you can cook and clean for yourself.
This new community of strong men is growing every day. Athletes and entrepreneurs come from all around the world to live this experience.
With all these men's retreats, man, they always fall back on the fighting aesthetic. Oh, learn some MMA, bro. Just do some Muay Thai. Just because a Norwood on TRT holds pads for you once a week doesn't mean you know how to fight.
It's a secret location in the middle of the mountains of Bali that only accepts disciplined men who want to work on their goals.
One of the biggest plights of social media is that it convinced every single person they're worthy and capable of making money online. And that's not even an insult. You just gotta stop watching so much Tim Ferriss and Tony Robbins.
Train hard, get in their best shape ever, eat clean, do sauna, spend time in nature, eat premium meat, do ice bath, and exchange knowledge with other like-minded men on the same journey. It's a complete disconnection from the noise of the modern world and a full reconnection to men's deepest values.
What are you, an iPad kid? You're an adult. You get distracted by the modern world. You can't tune out the noise. You can't lock in. You're not dialed enough. Well, then you're not going to make it in the first place. This shit is not even nice or exquisite. It's a brutalist bungalow with nothing there. I feel bad, but it's not in the reason that you think, because these men have been sold a lie. But this is like a basic IQ test, because you have been psyoped into believing that you're never doing enough. And it works because it's so inherently vague. Push harder. You're soft. Stay hard. Here's one for you. Why are you listening to other men that aren't your dad, your grandfather, or immediate role models in your life? Well, I don't have any. Well, then you don't need to be listening to strangers on the internet. And for these men, this worm of negativity just burrows into their brain, and they're like, maybe if I do more push-ups, she'll finally text me back. Maybe if I eat more meat, yeah, that's gotta be it. Gotta get that protein in. More meat. More premium quality meat. Then I'll finally level up. These normies fall into the same trap. More. Gotta do more. Step on the gas. How about you take a step back and use your fucking brain for once? Slow down. Effort without direction is spinning your wheels. Instead of writing, 12 books in 3 weeks, how about you write one good paragraph? I'm serious. One good quality paragraph. You can't do it. I say that in jest for an example, but that line of thinking, neuroticism maxing, is what keeps these men stuck. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how much steak you eat, how many masterminds you attend, how many courses you sell. You are and always will be a puss boy. It starts with you. Your goals are transient. Your mission is dumb. You are a midwit.
People are hating on this new community of strong men and call it toxic masculinity because every participant represents traditional values.
Sigma ass TikTok house bros hitting them with the Andrew Tate hand signal. None of these men represent traditional values. You're running away from women. Traditional values is more in line with cream pieing your wife and attending church on Sunday, not exploring each other's mussies in the jungle.
Men are coming from all around the globe to live this unique experience. Take time to reflect, reconnect with what truly matters, and prepare themselves to enter a new chapter of their lives. There is an open gym surrounded by jungle, a spa with wood-burning sauna and ice bath, a private restaurant that serves healthy food all day, and many cabins with stunning mountain views. The only thing to do there is train hard, eat clean, recover well, discover waterfalls, and network with other like-minded men. It's a complete disconnection from modern society.
Spiritually, this is the same as going into the gym with lifting gloves, doing 3 sets of bicep curls, and then leaving. The most fluff and pump bullshit for broken men. You can't feign confidence or self-esteem. It's built through expertise and hardship. Oh, I can't focus in the modern world, so I need to take my laptop to the jungle. You're not able to self-monitor and work out yourself. You need to be told by other men how to be a man. You can't control yourself when women are around. Nah, keep soy facing at the waterfalls.
A vegan diet is not allowed in this venue. It's a unique experience in the middle of the mountains of Bali that only accept disciplined men who want to take a break from their routine, stick to a clean diet, eat a lot of premium meat, train consistently, get in their best shape ever, and be surrounded by a strong community of hardworking men to elevate each other. Only those with approved applications can join the experience. Be quick because places are really limited.
What are you, a pirate? A rogue? Why do you need this elusive guild of men to hold you accountable?
Is brotherhood gay? A lot of people are hating in the comment sections of this new community of strong brothers. The Bali Time Chamber gathers many high-level athletes, professional fighters, and successful entrepreneurs to train hard, eat clean.
Forces on Zone B. Be advised, Zone A in danger.
Okay, give me a second, y'all. A dead shooter and one attendee.
We secured the zone.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Hi, and thank you for subscribing for 9 whole months. Goodness gracious. Doesn't matter. Thank you for subscribing.
Opposing forces playing rough. Focus up and return the favor.
Boy, I sure am tired of living through concurrent events.
Allied forces on Zone B.
New mag.
Zone is ours. Enemy action on Zone B. Allies moving on Zone C. Opposing forces hold all zones. Take appropriate action. We secure the zone. We're taking B. Zone contested.
Nothing changes.
Stay focused, operator. Opposing forces winning. Allies taking Zone A. Zone C is at risk. Zone is ours. Hostiles taking A. Intervene. Secure all zones from the opposing force. Enemy action on Zone B. This mission may not end well, operator. We're taking B. Zone Zone C is at risk. Zone is ours. Allies taking Zone C. Zone B is compromised. Friendly forces defeated.
That's the thing. Every time, without fail, like, Antifa is not a organized group. That is the point of Antifa. It is not, as much as they want to be like, oh well, George Soros is funding it. Like, there's no actual concrete proof behind that. Antifa is not a organized structure. Like, the idea that Antifa is behind this, it's ludicrous. There's nothing to really prove that. And I think that's bared out by the fact that the video we saw isn't even in English. Like, hello dog. Dog wants to say hi to everybody. Hello. I just watched BBC. They interviewed a resident who lives outside the rally, who's standing there by a tree listening and saw someone on top of a building near him with a rifle. Tried to get police and secret service attention, and they ended up killing him. Fine.
Be advised.
Very, yeah, super trustworthy source here. Love that. They ended up killing him. Find, oh, there's more. Find this video.
Capture zone contested.
There was a video there. Carrying an Antifa card. He's gone.
Zone is ours. Allies are capturing Zone A.
Stand by the trees out there under the shade and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We can see them, but we can hear them.
Hostiles on Zone B. Engage.
And probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea. But we noticed the guy crawling, they're crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof. He had a gun, right? He had a rifle. We can clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, oh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. I need first aid. And next thing you know, 5 shots from him. You're certain that the shots came from that side? 100%. 100%. And he was up there for a couple of minutes. He was up there. You were up there for a couple of minutes. Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes. And you were telling the police.
Friendly securing Zone C.
The Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree. Binoculars? Probably not, because the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? This is not a big place. Obviously everyone, when the shooting
Allied forces on Zone B.
Did you see what happened to him at all? Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry. Secret Service blew us out. Okay, just be careful.
Be advised, Zone A in danger.
They shot the guy. Absolutely, 100%. Okay. Yep. You saw that happen? Yep. Yep. Okay. Yep. And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or? They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead. And that was it. It was over. The guy was on the roof, right there. You can see the white roof. Right there. You gotta look at him.
Zone compromised.
He was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. And we saw the rifle, 100%. Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was? Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it. But it was a rifle of some sort.
On Zone B.
Yeah,
engage.
Absolutely. So,
enemy action on Zone B.
What you've just seen. I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there, anything that the Secret Service considered
friendly forces on Zone B.
I'll let you stand here talking to you right now.
God damn it. So he's already, like, the man just watched another, if this is to be believed, which I cast a wide amount of speculation on this. The man just saw somebody die, and the first thing he's doing is fucking baking.
Allies
moving
on
already
Zone C.
in the bakery, cooking up the conspiracy around it. Like, it's...
Zone contested.
So the thing is I don't, and again, literally, that's why everybody's here. That's why we're all streaming. That's why this is all happening, because nobody knows what's going on right now, right? News doesn't know. Every news station right now, I know exactly what the journalists are doing. Like, at every level, they are freaking the fuck out. They're trying to get the actual story of what happened. They are trying to get as much accurate information as possible. And that's why I've even seen people in the chat being like, okay, so I had somebody tell me it was, there are 2 shooters. I think there's probably only 1. The 2-shooter thing is, it's very, very rarely
Allies
2 shooters,
Zone
right?
B.
That narrative develops out of a lot of active shooter situations out of an abundance of caution, because, and especially in wide open areas, if you have multiple different people in multiple different parts of an arena or any real venue where a shooting is occurring, the echoes from shots can usually make it sound like, okay, no, somebody was over here, no, somebody was over here. And when people are disoriented, that just makes it worse. So I will say, out of the gate, I could be wrong about this, there's probably only 1 shooter. There usually is, right? The idea that somebody had a rifle, because there were 4 to 5 shots. If you go and listen to the video, I won't, because I think I might be able to get my channel taken down. There were 4 to 5 little pops that you hear. You can hear it faintly in the background. If it was a rifle, if we were talking a long gun,
friendly forces on Zone B.
I do not think they would have been able to pop it off quite as fast unless it was something semi-automatic, right?
Enemy forces on Zone A.
At that point, a couple of things are explained. If it was a hunting rifle, that person shouldn't have missed. Like, that's what I'm gonna say. If there was somebody, like they're explaining here, laying down on a roof in a perched position, like they are eyeing a target, that person shouldn't have missed. They just shouldn't. If you look at this logistically, no person who's going to go through that effort and get as far as that is going to have their sights miscalibrated, is going to, like, they shouldn't have missed. What I think happened is it was probably something with a higher rate of fire, to put it in like Call of Duty terms, lower rate of accuracy, probably something, I don't want to say like AR-15, but probably fairly far away, which is why you saw 4 or 5 shots.
We're taking B.
And only one of them almost hit.
Progress update. Time is running out. Now or never.
Yeah,
we secured the zone.
How fucked are we, Talmasharu? Pretty fucked. Let me get to these real quick. My cat is meowing my ear off. I think she's sensing my stress. Your girl, Jen, wow, thank you for following. Awesome Kid, thank you for 8 months. What potential advice do you have to help people not freak out over this and its potential implications? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. This is one of those things that I saw it. I was sitting down to eat. I was trying to take a day off today because I've been just inundating myself in conspiracy and, you know, doing a lot of intensive research for the next big project on all that stuff. My usual MO. I sat down and I'm like, okay, fuck. Like, it hit me the exact same way January 6th did, where I know, like, it's weird, right? Because I've been thinking about this. These things, they happen in this abstract space where it doesn't tangibly affect most people's lives. Like, you can reach the end of your day not having known about this, and it wouldn't probably make a difference on the outcome, right? And it's very similar with things like January 6th, but it does have a cultural knock-on effect where this event will at one point tangibly change something that will affect you in one way or another. Whether that's Trump getting elected and climate disaster getting worse and it affects the place that you live, whether that's Trump getting elected and Medicare getting worse, which affects you when you need pills or a family member needs pills or, you know, whatever. These things mount up and they don't affect you until they do, right? It's a domino effect for a reason. So how do people not freak out over this? Because this is on the level, on a conspiracy plane. This is up there with Epstein for me, as far as things that is, as you all know, I like a large part of my channel has been based on researching and
yes. By the way, if you really want to get in deeper on this, Coffee has a great video where he talks about mortgage payments.
You need to find a way to refund people.
If I do, I won't have.
It's not spent. You have $5,000.
No, well, I can't. I won't have mortgage.
He shows bank account balances, just showing Boogie is an absolute liar. And this is something that I feel is incredibly familiar to me with a guy who tried to scam me.
Boogie had showed me his income for the last month, and it looked to me like the podcast is what paid for his mortgage. And so I asked, wouldn't that money pay for your mortgage? Boogie said, this month it wouldn't, because he had to go on a special trip, and his co-host was withholding all the money for that month.
He showed me all sorts of stuff, statements and everything of money going out to hospitals, and just, it's all lies. It's all, this guy is a liar. Nothing he says is real. Anyways, once again, CoffeeZilla's video is incredible, and the different ways that Boogie tries to defend himself in the video using a colloquial expression.
Wait, that's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Yes! Have you never heard of the colloquialism? Yeah, that money's all gone. It's all spent. I have a specific thing I need to do with it.
He says that he feels like Coffee tricked him and misrepresented their conversation.
By the way, CoffeeZilla records you without telling you he records. It's not. Name a YouTuber does this. No, he did it the first time.
And at the end of it all, he's using a cancer diagnosis as justification. You know, the medical bills, that's the justification for the crypto scam. So, it's just so evil. It's so rotten. Everyone's up in arms, mad about Boogie blatantly lying to his fans once again. He got kicked from Locale Live. People started combing through the archives, finding...
The left is now trending. I bet that's going to be just super rad to go into. Here it is. Here is... If Trump wins, this will be a massive cornerstone of law.
Capture zone contested.
Like, this is giving the right wing the exact image of Trump they've been trying to push and trying to sell. The idea that he's been harassed and assaulted, and he's doing this for the American people, but he's our strength and he's our rock and he's gonna come back better than ever. Like, especially this one, this is the fucking picture.
Allies are
that is going to
capturing
make Time
Zone
Magazine
A.
by the end of the year. The like biggest fucking pictures of the year.
Hostiles on Zone B. Engage.
Like you.
Zone is ours.
Again, remember when I'm talking about conspiracy posting, that there are things that just, I don't think it's
Friendly
conspiracy,
securing Zone C.
but it lines up so perfectly that at the end of the day, here's the problem. It doesn't matter. And I'm gonna tie this into a super chat. Thank you, KTSNA, for $10. For anyone making claims with no proof, please stop. This only causes more issues when piecing together an emerging story. Also, please stop with the jokes and things like better aim. Well, two things there. One, at the end of the day, yeah, like nobody, as I was saying at the beginning, it really doesn't matter who did it. Like, it doesn't. Because
enemy operator neutralized.
In this ecosystem we're in, between Twitter and 4chan and the traditional news media and all these other places that have been so atomized, where every different group has their own preconceived, prefabricated conspiracies ready to go, it doesn't fucking matter. Right? Because at the end of the day, what everybody saw is really the only tangible thing that they're going to imprint their conspiracy on. So Alex Jones, right, is already going to be shilling, if he's not already, that they tried to take Trump down. The deep state is trying to get him. And everybody who believes Alex Jones is gonna just go into that. They're just gonna believe it. Right? The people who want to have a narrative already have a narrative over it. And that goes doubly for the Trump campaign. Like, it doesn't matter if it comes out 2-3 months from now that this was, and I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying, in this hypothetical, if it comes out that this was a faked assassination attempt, that they tried to, like, position it and make Trump a martyr, and it worked in the polls.
They wouldn't risk this. No one would risk this. It's not fake.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah, somebody is saying it's all political theater. Flora Nim, thank you for following. And Trump, ever the showman, knows exactly how to capitalize on it. So, like, yeah, let me read this real quick. Trump sees outpouring of support after assassination attempt at rally stop. New York Post is a fucking brag, but I want to see what they're saying. Live blog. Actor Russell Brand, who hosts a conspiracy podcast, speculated the attack was brought on by Trump's fall from grace in the media. See?
We're taking B. Mission outcome looks positive. Steady as you go. Zone contested. Orders are to take all the zones and keep them secure.
You know, I fully expect him to make a post about it on Truth Social by the end of the day. I think the flag it's hung between two poles,
Enemy
so it
forces
appears to
on
be
zone
upside
A.
down, but it's meant to be sideways. All right, everybody, let's take a no. Let's take a quick lady break. Lady break. No, come back up. The people want to see you. The people want to see you. The people want no. Rah. No. What?
We're taking B.
Kaboom! I love you. Okay. I will. All right, give me 1 second.
Zone is ours. Team taking C. Enemy action on Zone B. Zone compromised.
So for people asking, what do we do? Like, what? Like, honestly, I feel like everybody kind of has already realized, what can we do? You know, that's the thing. The other thing that was really reminding me of Epstein is that, like, the second you heard Epstein died in prison, and everybody went off on their conspiracy theories, that was the moment. That, again, it was another case of like, it doesn't matter who's responsible. The people tangibly responsible for crimes against humanity, crimes against children, whether they're the Clintons, whether they're Trump, it doesn't matter. They're not. They weren't going to see. Like, at that point, we knew they weren't going to see punishment for their crimes.
Zone compromised. Be advised, hostile echelon has your current coordinates.
2 people died. All right, let me go. I'm going to try and look and see. Because that was the other thing is nobody was really talking about, of course, because everything has to be about Trump. Nobody was really talking about
outcome unclear.
Who died. Like, they were firing into basically an entire wall of people behind him.
Update.
Like, I don't understand how you
Outlook is
don't
good.
hit someone. Oh yeah, he's very well. He's completely fine. One bystander is definitely dead. Okay, footage of Trump's potential shooter being dragged out.
Locking down C.
Of a rally by police.
That's a win.
Yeah, he's dead. Everybody wants to do the... All right, let's do... What do you think would have happened if he didn't miss? I'd be throwing a party. Do you want my honest fucking... Like, I'm sorry. Maybe that's a little harsh. I'm not advocating for anything. I had nothing to do with it. I'm just saying. Let me put it to you this way. I was at a restaurant, local shop, like 3 blocks away from my house. And as soon as I heard about the Trump thing on Twitter, I asked, hey, can you, because it's like a kind of sports bar. I go over there for wings. And they had sports on. I'm like, hey, can we switch the channel real quick? Something like big shit's going down. And the owner switched it and is like, oh, damn, Trump got shot? And this guy who I figured would just be like kind of uncommitted. Like he looks like he might even be like more conservative leaning, like just a regular ass 40-ish-year-old white dude. And he goes, oh, somebody tried to shoot Trump. And I hear him, he muttered it under his breath behind the bar, but I heard him loud and clear. He didn't look at me or anything, but he was just like, he turned around, he was like, damn it, wish they didn't miss. And I'm like it is not anywhere near a like extremist position with this motherfucker. Because so many people have seen all of the shit that he has continued to allow to grow. And I'm not, Kaylin, I'm not saying that I want him to die. I am not advocating for anybody to go do anything. But somebody asked me, honestly, if it happened, what would I do? Like something that is completely out of my power? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Crawford Fulton King, thank you very much for €4. I stand corrected, sorry. It seems fake as nobody else has been hit. Yeah, people have been hit. KTSNA, if anyone is worried about what to do, spend time with people you're safe with until this blows over. Try not to take trips that are unnecessary. Don't be paralyzed with fear over this. That's actually a really great recommendation. Thank you for the $10. It is... So I had somebody ask me earlier, what do we do, right? And I don't know. I don't have the answers to the universe. I'm just a political analyst. I'm a streamer, you know? I'm a bread tuber. Like I'm nobody really. I just analyze things and try to come to the best conclusions and outcomes that I can. And analyzing this, and I already said it on Twitter and I already said it at the beginning, this is the best. Like, Trump is already on the forward foot in his campaign because Biden continues to take a massive shellacking. Like, just getting his ass beat by every photo opportunity, every speech he has, every interview he does. None of it is working right now. So Biden campaign is already on the back foot. And this, you literally cannot buy propaganda this good. Like, not only does it personally embolden Trump's martyr complex, embolden the narrative that everybody on the Trump side has been pushing. We saw it if you've seen my CPAC video. You saw all the people who sincerely, deeply believe that this billionaire who wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire is sacrificing for them. And now he has literally shed blood. And they are going to depict that as for the American people, that this is all for them. And that's going to have a couple knock-on effects, I think. I think it's going to have a knock-on effect with the militancy of Trump supporters, where it was short, 4 short years ago, but I went to counter-protests against Trump people, even though it was just like college groups and stuff around here. And every Trump person was brandishing a gun because they had just listened to all of the narratives about Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning things down. And that's what they sincerely believed anybody who opposed them were and were capable of. You know, like everybody was Kyle Rittenhouse brained. And I think that's going to get worse because now it's not just a matter of them believing that, oh, Antifa is going to come and burn down your city and George Soros is going to ship them in on buses. It's also a matter of they tried to kill our president. So that is a massive thing that you have to be, you personally, whoever is listening, you have to be careful of, is that you cannot just go up, if there's a protest or something, you cannot just go up and start yelling in people's faces, because there are going to be people out there who literally believe that you and people like you were responsible for this. And they are going to draw that conclusion.
This scenario
and
is
the scary
kinetic.
part is that it's probably going to end in some kind of violence.
3.
So yeah, surrounding yourself with people who know you, who love you, who care about you is, it's the exact same thing we were talking about, like with trans care the other day. It's like it is more important now than ever to be surrounded by people who are able to support you, and not just like your friends and your close buddies and your pals, but to create networks of mutual aid and create outreach in your own community. This I was talking about it earlier. It's not just a queer or trans thing, although it certainly can be if you're trying to create outreach within your own queer community, wherever you may be. This is something that is bigger than just you, or bigger than just whatever identity groups that you happen to fall into or identify with. You need to have plans in place so that if you go to a rally, if there is a Trump rally or an anti-Trump rally or whatever, and you want to be there to support people, Biden has to stay down.
Activating defense system.
Capture zone contested.
Throwing grenade. Gathering intel.
Okay. Well, this will be.
Allied forces on zone B.
Anyway, what I was saying is if you need to know things like escape routes. You need to know things like first aid. You need to know things like who has a medical kit. Like, it is not enough anymore that you just show up to give your support. You need to be active in that support, because it can mean helping others.
The zone is ours.
And yeah, it's
Capture zone contested.
like, just saying, and I kind of don't want to be doomer because I feel like everybody is trying to be.
I'm just not gonna leave the house.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse.
My apartment.
Like, which is here's the fucking problem.
Danger.
And sorry if I'm swearing a lot. A lot of this is just off the cuff, first impact.
Opposing forces hold all zones. Take appropriate action. Allies are capturing Zone A.
Chuck Smith Flex, thank you very much for $5. This has me shook. There's a chance it's business as come 2025, but I'm prepped for anything.
Allied
I'm gonna say
forces on Zone B.
just in case. Yes. Well, and that's kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning, is that if Trump comes into power, right, 2025 does get enacted, a lot of people, granted, a lot of my audience will notice when they can't access their gender-affirming healthcare or when they get ostracized and misgendered and fired and all sorts of other shit. But a lot of people's lives are going to go on completely unfazed. Which is, you can see that during the Holocaust. The amount of people, regular German people, or half Jews, or people who didn't fall into a certain group, just went on completely unfazed by what was going on around them. I saw them, it's a movie everybody needs to actually go see. And you can go find it on, I think I rented it on Amazon, or maybe it was on Tubi. Anyway, go find where it's streaming. Go watch Cabaret tonight. Go sit down and really look
Friendly
at
forces
Cabaret.
on Zone B.
Because that is a movie entirely about the rise of the Nazi Party, but filtered through the lens of people who don't pay attention to politics, filtered through the lens of people who are not affected by that rise until it affects them.
Opposing forces playing rough.
And I
Focus
watched
up
it
and
for the
return
first
the
time
favor.
last week, 2 weeks ago. And it is one of the most chilling films. It's not even particularly like grotesque, or it's not very violent or anything else. But the way in which it captures the feeling that I think so many people have right now. The feeling of loss and isolation
Zone is ours.
from the events that are
Zone
happening
B is
around them.
compromised. Secure all zones from the
Feeling of
opposing
just
force.
confusion of what to do. And then probably most damning, the feeling that it's just going to keep getting worse. And so many people would rather just bury their head in the sand.
Friendly forces on Zone B.
All right, let me see if anybody else is doing this.
Zone compromised.
Doesn't a large lore seeker, doesn't a large amount of the U.S. support trans rights, though? Like, not the majority, but just a large number of people will not be able to differ from the Jewish situation in Germany.
Hostiles taking
Yeah, I don't necessarily mean, I didn't mean for it to sound like I'm comparing trans people to Jewish people in that comparison. It's less about that as a comparison and more about just the general rise of fascism and the people who ignore it until it's too late to ignore.
Progress update. High probability of mission failure. Friendly forces securing A.
Somebody fucking lie.
We secured the zone.
All right, let's see what ABC is doing.
Friendly forces
The leading
on Zone
candidate,
B.
soon to be nominated by his party as their candidate. Someone attempting to apparently kill him. That is the feeling.
You know your camera feed is still live, operator. I see you showboat.
Yeah, let me go look in the
in this moment.
Pierre Thomas Forrest, thank you so much. I do want to note we are awaiting word from President Biden. There is a podium that has been set up there that is Rehoboth
And, like,
Beach, Delaware. That's where President Biden was.
Here's the fucking like deeply
We're about 2 minutes out.
terrible thing.
The president speaking tonight. Of course, he sent out that statement earlier.
Oh wait, hang on.
We know that the president has been briefed by his staff and by the
Fuck.
Secret Service.
Everybody shut up. God damn it, Joe. You cannot fuck this up right now.
Oh my God, if he uses this to say he's going to
God, fuck
hand
Joe,
over.
come on.
He's going to hand over. Oh, Jesus.
Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to give it, if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried for his own safety? Was the security failing, Mr. President?
And that was pretty, normal.
Well, I guess that was not as bad as it could have been, given how he's been lately. The really funny thing is that I truly believe if the roles had been reversed, if Trump was president and Biden had been shot, like Trump would have just been making fun of him. Like I really believe that. Yeah, but that was about what I expected. He didn't fuck it up in any big way. Short, sweet, denounced the violence, made sure to throw hands across the aisle and say, "Oh, I'm in touch with Donald, and we're going to be chatting with him soon." Cool. Yeah, he would have called Biden a loser. Like, absolutely would have. Vamrir, thank you for $5. Can you say the name of the movie one more time? Also, just started HRT. Love your channel. About you. Thank you very much. It's Cabaret. Caberet. Cabaret. Cabaret is how it's spelled. Footage of shooter dead on roof. All right, let me look that up real quick. Make sure it is work appropriate. All right, I'm just going to blank this out for a second. And then we'll go over the bystander news, because it seems like nobody really gives a fuck about the...
Lá em cima, né? Aqui, ó. You can see the guy there.
I'll be goddamned. Holy shit. It was... So I guess, content warning for a dead body from afar. So what happened earlier with the person, because we watched a video of the police taking somebody out of the crowd. I think that was the person who got shot behind Trump. But this is corroborated by what we saw earlier. where somebody was saying that there was somebody on the roof and the guy in the Trump hat was pointing to the white roof over there. This is a white tin roof. Oh.
I think they hit him because the guy he looks dead. Lá em cima, né? Aqui, ó. You can see the guy there. I think they hit him because the guy he looks dead. Tá vendo?
Trying to see, all you can really see is a Trump hat. And like, I'm trying to just make sure I don't think this would be, I'm trying to think of what other use case, like if this video would be from anything else, but Dead Magic, guy had his head blown off and Trump almost died, and you guys are joking about if the roles were reversed, Trump wouldn't care. You people are insane. Trump wouldn't care. I can tell you that. I can absolutely tell you that. Trump doesn't have empathy. Like, I don't know what propaganda you've been buying into, but the dude would sell his children for a cheeseburger. No, this is not staged. I don't think it's staged. I think it would be, I don't think Trump would agree to stage something like that. And certainly not, like when you look at Trump's reaction, it feels too real. Like it's not like a squib or something. It is like he rapidly goes for his ear as if something stung him, which is what a lot of gunshots feel like at first. Like it is just a sudden, if you realize it at all, if the adrenaline isn't already pumping, which is why some people don't even realize that they're shot. But if you realize it, it's like a quick, sharp pain. And that's exactly the reaction you see when he reaches for his ear. Mark Black, thank you for $5. Thank you so much for helping to keep us informed on this. Stay safe. You too. Lee Kessner, thank you for super chatting $2. All right, let's look at the bystander news. Shooter dead, DA says bystander have died. The shooter and bystander have died. Now let's go back to a misguided follower of Trump or of Biden who's the shooter in your mind. What makes sense to you? I don't even know. Like I couldn't tell you, if I'm being honest. I couldn't tell you. Like and I was talking about earlier is that whatever's going to happen is going to come out, right? Like whatever actually happened, we will find out probably by tomorrow, if not by next week. But that information pales into comparison that the knock-on effect it's going to have on the election. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was a QAnon person. It doesn't matter if it was Antifa. It wasn't Antifa. Like we've talked about earlier, Antifa isn't actually like an organized group. It doesn't have like a power structure, right? Next step for RNC delegates and state legislature after Trump shooting. Let's see. Heard someone it was a groiper. I don't know about that. Groipers are like I don't know. Like I don't know. I was gonna say like groipers wouldn't do that, but fuck. What do I know? I didn't think Donald Trump would be shot today. Yeah, Vinny Demon, that's a great point. Is that if Biden wanted to, he could have Trump arrested for January 6th. Bella Ray, I hate your stream content so much. This is one I'm down to drop in on. Why do you hate my stream content? Rude. I put a lot of work into streaming. Groipers are close enough to other people. All right, give me a second. I need to go refill my water, and I'll be right back. Back. Any news on who the suspect is? We just watched a video of somebody on a roof. It was somebody on a roof who is dead, is all we know. And based on another person's report, or somebody that the BBC interviewed earlier, that person had climbed up there with a rifle and had been sitting there for a while. And yeah. All right. Mr. Jersey, thank you for super chatting $10. Everyone stay calm. We need to unite and spread what we know to as many people as we can. We cannot let Trump win because of this. We have to fight for an actual better America. Yeah, obviously I completely agree with that. And part of the reason I wanted to stream was to not be a conspiracy theorist about this, to at least push back just a little bit about the rampant misinformation that's going on here, because it's that is what you're going to see for the next 2 or 3 weeks, right? That is what you're going to see.
Domination, a mix of attack and defense. Engage responsibly.
Reverb Darkness, thank you for gifting a sub to Maricosita.
3, 2, 1. Capture all zones and keep them secure.
Bystander.
Allies are capturing Zone A.
Somebody has to know. The venue has to be cleared out by now. They have to know.
Zone is ours.
There won't be a statement from the NRA. Bystander supported a shot.
Allied forces on Zone B.
40 deceased. 1 bystander dead.
Confirmed
Shooter dead.
kill.
Trump hit. I want to see if I can find how quickly after they were like, okay, well, that'll be...
We secured the zone.
Spectator killed as bullets fly. Trump rally leaving. Former president bleeding from his head with blood streaming across his face. Assassination attempt. 8 shots. Holy shit. All right. I only heard 4 or 5 on the video. Fired at least 8 shots at Trump and injured him is dead. It was an ear injury. Unless they got something, like they got into a car before showing more. Rally goer killed. Shocking bloodbath.
Hostiles on Zone B. Engage.
Sorry, I forgot this is a tabloid, the Daily Mail. Bystanders released.
Capture
Trump was
zone contested.
mid-sentencing. Take a look at what happened with Johnson moving out.
Be advised, Zone A in danger.
Yep, there's the moment. That's exactly what I was talking about. There's a moment where he goes to clasp his ear, and it looks like he's going to swat a bug, and he kind of stumbles a little. The shooter is down in moments after gunfire erupted. The president is being seen pushed. So here's the real problem with the conspiracizing.
Friendlies securing Zone C.
Is that part of the narrative? I can almost guarantee you, if the stuff around that person on the roof bears out, part of the narrative is going to become that it was a deep state operation, that they wanted to get Trump out of there because he was on a roof
Allies
and Secret Service didn't do anything about it, which is very weird.
Capture zone contested.
But I want to know why myself. I'm already worried that is going to become part of the narrative. Oh. Jade, thank you for super chatting. New Zealand, $5. Love your stream content. My main concern is how Trump will leverage this to his advantage. Now his base will respond regardless of facts. Yeah, his base will respond positively. Like, here's the real crazy part the real part that will drive people crazy is that there are going to be people swayed by this, right? Like there are going to be people down the middle who might not like Trump, and they'll vote for Biden. They don't really like Biden either, but they're going to be swayed by this because this is going to be pushed endlessly by the Trump campaign as an example of a couple things. It's going to be an example of how much he's winning, which is why the left wants him out of there. How much the radical left is wanting to take out America. They want, because Trump, here's the narrative they're going to go with, mark my words, is that Trump is fighting for you, the regular person. And by attacking him, they're actually attacking you. So to get back at the elites, the globalists, the George Soros and Biden, whoever the fuck they blame, the narrative is going to become, you need to vote for Trump. And that will work on a bunch of people. Non-applicable, thank you for joining. And yeah, that photo is going to go alongside the, it's going to go alongside the mugshot. Like, it's going to be one that is in a couple days. Fuck, man. They already have the t-shirt presses spinning up. I know it. They already have the t-shirt presses going. Like, Trump is, here's the thing. I give it a week, maybe less, before Trump is giving another speech. And at that first speech, keep an eye out, because there's always merch booths. At that first speech, there will be a merch booth selling a picture, selling a t-shirt with one of these pictures on it.
Allies are winning. Mission is on course.
With a picture of him with blood and holding his hand up. Like, it's just dark as hell. Starts with a C. Thank you for $20. Holy smackaroos. I'm praying Kamala replaces Biden since it seems very likely. People want it. Biden sees her as viable, and there's messages from Dems about it. She's rallying in Pennsylvania. This even is going to mobilize Trump's base, though. Yeah, I think Kamala is the only chance we have at this point. With how Biden has been lately, like, there has been a sinking feeling on the left, a deep sinking feeling of I feel everybody in the political establishment, like, the right wing knows it. You see people like Ben Shapiro talking about how like, oh, Biden should stay in the race because that's guaranteeing a Trump victory. It's like, and this is just another thing. Thank you so much, by the way, whoever gifted those subs. It's not showing on my thing. But a bunch of subbies are getting gifted right now.
Activating defense system.
Yeah, no, Zarina Chess, at least Biden didn't call Trump Kamala in his presser. Like, I know Biden's people were back there being like,
progress update. High confidence in a successful outcome.
You cannot listen to me, Biden. Hey, smack, smack, smack. Do not fuck this up, Joe. Trump is Trump. The vice president is Kamala. President of Ukraine, Zelensky. All you gotta go out there and say, shooting people is bad, then come off stage. That's it. They gave him an ice cream as soon as he got back, and he was all good. Coda Anthony, Kamala doesn't speak much more competently than Joe does. No, but Kamala has attitude, which Joe does not have. Kamala has youth and the illusion of vigor on her side. Remdog Cap. I have a bunch of media of the victims, only blood, no gore. Do you want them? I don't have Twitter. No. I'm good. I know what people look like when they get shot. I'm not going to show it on stream. If people want that stuff, well, we just did or is Biden delivering another press conference or? Thank you though. I do appreciate it. But like, if we already saw the one body being hauled out, I'm assuming that is the fatality. We've already seen the person on the roof. Like, there's nothing really. I think if only one person is dead, or if only 2 people are dead, the shooter and the bystander, I don't think, like, we don't need to see more than that. We got some good far away shots. Everybody gets the idea. There's no need to be gratuitous. If people want to find that stuff, you can go. There are other places to find it. I don't really want to look at dead bodies all day. Donald Trump Jr. said since his father is in good spirits and shared a tweet of his bloodied father with his fist raised, captioned, "He will never stop fighting to save America." Dramatic footage has swept the world showed popping sounds ring out as the 2024 presidential hopeful was on stage addressing a large crowd of supporters. Unclear where the shooter fired the shots from or what kind of weapon was used. Secret Service faced urgent questions about how they were able to put a former president who is current favorite to be 47th face mortal peril. Fuck you, Daily Mail. Fuck you. President Biden says he is grateful to hear that Trump is safe and doing well and that he's praying for the Trumps while awaiting further information. Phoebe RC, had Trump been taken out, what would the effect have been? The world may never know. Or it might. Fuck it. I don't know. Like that is a true, like, here's the thing right now. Is that this is just moving the barometer more towards Trump. Like between the election, and it was already tilting that way, and especially in the last month, especially in the last couple of weeks because of Biden's poor debate performance, the ABC interview, after NATO press conference, we've all looked at them, we've seen them. It's already been ticking that way. This just feels like it's slamming it all the way to the other side of that market, right? But it's a complete unknown. If Trump were, if this attempt was successful, it is a complete unknown what would have happened, because we are, there are no other presumptive nominees, right? Like every other major conservative has presumptively dropped out of the race. So on the conservative side, and I saw this in the CPAC video, it has become a race for VP. Now, we don't know who the VP pick was, but Trump isn't ever going to pick somebody who's going to upstage him, right? So like, even if the VP was leaked, whoever it was, I don't think it would probably be like the front runner. So they would have to, I don't know, they'd have to have like really scrambled to put something together. I don't agent or witchery, I don't think it's staged or conspiracy, but I do think it's weird how he just immediately posed for the camera as soon as he was up. Like, did he practice that this was going to happen? I imagine, I don't think well, maybe in the mirror, but Trump is the kind of person who would want something like this. Like, here's the thing. And I know a lot of liberals and leftists and people on the left are going to be using that talking point. And I know you're not, but specifically, there's a lot of people who are going to be like, this, like, how was it this staged and he just took the perfect picture? And it's because that is who Trump is. Like, he has been a TV show personality. Like, he has been a just celebrity personality for 40, 50 years. Like, that has been his thing, is just giving his opinions on things and putting out this false aura of eloquence and refinement and all that dumb, just gilded bullshit that he convinced everybody with. And that is how he is. Like, if there's one person who will know how to capitalize on a photo op, that's him. He was born with media training.
Down.
Dennis7, thank you for subscribing at 2-1. Start to see super chat of $5. Medicare is on his stream relaying the populist message you just described. So pretty much, thank you very much. Yeah, so like it is a thing that I'm willing to bet Trump. Here's Trump's mental process: is that he feels something, realize he's been A, shot, B, is completely okay. C is like, okay, obviously Secret Service, I can't just continue out here, obviously. The Secret Service is here. I'm gonna get this photo opportunity because, and if you go and watch the video, it's a little funny, but I know, I've known journalists and photographers and I know what they're like. So I'm like, I know exactly where their head was, but it's a little funny because as soon as the shots ring out, as soon as Secret Service rushes the stage, you see like 2 or 3 photographers from the like media pit run across and under the stage to start like gunshots are still popping out, and the photographers are like, oh shit, I gotta get the shot.
Intervene immediately.
Because that's the one thing that Civil War movie got right, is that photographers are really just busted like that.
Allies are capturing Zone A.
Baby Snake Master 420. Thank you very much for following. Yeah, and somebody did ask, do I think there's a possibility of like real violence? Yeah. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but
Zone compromised.
This will embolden
Allies securing Zone A.
I mean, we've already seen it in the last 8, 12 years, how since the Tea Party, the right wing has become more emboldened towards violence. We've seen it with the BLM protests. We saw it with things like Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, just look at how Kyle Rittenhouse has been hailed as a hero for murdering 2 people. And the conservatives would be like, oh, well, one of them is a violence. That is immaterial to the situation because he had no way of knowing that. He did not know that. It was a random person. It could have been anybody.
Zone is ours.
The gunshot could have hit anybody. Now,
Zone contested.
They are already, like, at Pride events here in Spokane, at Pride events, at the BLM events I've been to, conservatives will come down and open carry their loaded assault rifles, fingers on the trigger, not fingers on the trigger, but, you know, fingers on the trigger guard. Just to like, you know, strut and act Brody.
Orders are to take all the zones and keep them secure.
And that is because so many, a lot of people mistake their friends and family who are conservative for the rest of the conservative population. Because there are a lot of people who just vote for Trump because they like the aesthetic, who don't pay attention to politics that much, who might listen to one right-wing radio host. But for the most part, they're like pretty decent people. Like, otherwise would be entirely normal, right? And they don't have that many strong opinions. A lot of people in the Bible Belt are like this, where they're like, oh, well, I believe this, and I believe a man is a man and a woman's a woman. There's all this other stuff because they've never actually met somebody from that demographic group. They've never actually interrogated what those opinions mean. They just kind of go with the flow, right? That's not who I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about ones of the people like I was saying, a lot of people here is probably their father, their mom, their aunt, their uncle, somebody in their family who is, you know, we've always voted Republican in this house, and they have books from Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck on their shelf. And they read about World War II history and watch documentaries, and like they're just kind of your garden variety conservative. That's not who I'm talking about.
I need first aid.
Although, and as I've discussed a lot of this stuff, that kind of garden variety conservative has slowly grown more radical over time because of the MAGA movement, because of QAnon, because of the anti-vax movement, because of Save the Children, because of all of these things that continue to convince people to get more and more radical, to convince them that of deep conspiracies. People like Alex Jones convincing people that there's an evil Satanist cabal, you know, controlling the world. And the knock-on effect that has is that the people who are willing to brandish weapons, who are willing to be militant, believe that you are, not all of them, but there are going to be people out there, if you go to a protest or you go to a rally, and they are ideologically opposed to you, they are going to believe that you are not human the same way they are. They are going to believe that because you believe that trans kids should be supported and should be able to access hormone blockers, that you are a mutilating pedophile. They're going to believe that because you don't think Jews control the world, that you in fact are bought and paid for by George Soros or something.
Zone B is in danger.
So to answer that question, is there a chance of like real violence going over? Yeah.
Allies taking zone B.
Unfortunately, I think there is.
Allies
And like I said
A.
earlier, the only thing that we can really do at this point is to be prepared for that eventuality. If you're going to a rally, if you're going anywhere where there's going to be a protest, which is your right to do and you absolutely should do, have a first aid kit. No escape routes. Keep in contact with the party you came with. Like, these things, and they might seem stupid or they might seem silly until they're useful. Rad Rumpus, I got yelled at by my mom a couple minutes ago for saying most former presidents deserve to be shot for war crimes. That's true. I mean, that's true. There is not a president who has not done a war crime. Lavendrous EP, thank you very much for following. Evie Bin, thank you very much for following. Final meow down. The final meow down has super chatted. SEK65, thank you. I have an unnecessarily expensive bottle of champagne in the fridge. Complications, let's fucking go. I feel it. Can I get a recap in chat? Yes, Donald Trump was shot in the ear. He is probably going to be fine. One person in the crowd is dead, and the shooter is now dead. The shooter was set up on a... We've seen from two sources now. We saw direct footage from somebody who uploaded it to the web, and then from a guy who's pointing it out to a BBC interviewer that the shooter had been set up in a perch-like position along a tin roof adjacent to where Trump was speaking. And it's what does the road to 2025 look like now? And right now, I think it's a steamroll. Kippy, was the shooter shot at by Secret Service? Yes, apparently. In the colorful words of the MAGA guy who was talking to the BBC interviewer, Secret Service, and this is a direct quote, blew his head off. So I don't know what that means, because that could just be colorful language, or that could be what I saw in the video, which was taken from far enough away, so it's kind of obscured, was...
Team deathmatch.
All right, let's see what is
Hostile
trending right now.
inbound.
Let's get a tab on what's going on right
3,
now.
2, 1. Eliminate the opposing force.
Sendere 151. I am really sad about the innocent person. Yeah, it is a bummer to me that nobody seems like I get it. Trump has a tangible, massive effect on world politics right now. So yeah, you're gonna care about it. But another person died. Somebody else was a pin cushion right behind him for the 8 shots that Mr. Tin Roof missed. All right, let's see. Top. Everybody's got. Hey, you know what? I love this public forum, Elon Musk. It's so rad that massive world-changing events are happening, and it's just taken up by people posting memes, and that's the first thing we get to see because they bought a fucking blue check that says they're important. Rad. This is such a great way to consume news and media. So cool. Is it bad to say I'm sad they missed him? I don't know if I can say anything. See, y'all are getting me. I've been watching Synthetic Man for my research piece on Synthetic Man, and y'all are getting me, reminding me of him, where he'll go off on random conspiracies and he'll be like, I gotta stop, I can't say anything. And let me just say, I've already had to, there are a couple tweets waiting in drafts, right? I've already had to put some on the back burner.
Bombs away!
Anti-Apple for life. As a trans minor, what should I do if Trump wins? Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a minor you are. Like, I don't. It's hard to say. Like, because if you're a minor, you probably don't have the ability to move on your own. You're probably depending on your parents. I don't know if your parents support you or not.
Activating defense
What I would
system.
hope, and what the eventuality, because for those who don't know, trans people are not having a great time right now because Trump just came out yesterday with a message that said that they're effectively going to try and ban federal support, which the mention of a lot of people are differentiating between banning HRT across all age groups, which would be very hard to do, and banning federal support, which is what Trump actually said. The difference there, however, I don't think is quite that consequential because I think it'll be taken as banning all HRT for a lot of states. But at a federal level, there are going to be states where it's still going to happen, a lot like Roe v. Wade, where there are going to be states that are going to fight back, rightfully so. And if you are in one of those blue states, if you're in like a Washington or a Washington D.C., you're like hopefully, not Washington D.C., I said Washington D.C., California, hopefully Oregon might be a little washy. Like, the best thing you can try and do is get to one of those states. If you are a trans person, if you feel you might be at risk to get to one of those shelter states. The problem is, as much as gender criticals and perps like to act like it, trans people are not a wealthy group. Like every, well, I don't want to say every, because now I've technically like met Abigail Thorne and stuff. So most trans people I know are poor. Myself pretty included. Like I'm hovering just above the line. But like I know a lot of people struggling really hard right now. And the idea of adding an entire move, especially for people who live in the fucking South, who live in Florida, who live in Texas, across country, adding thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in debt just so they can live a life where they won't be fucking fired because an employer doesn't like them, or won't be constantly misgendered and dead named in the schools that they go to. Like, it's fucking unconscionable. Awesome Kid TH has another trans kid. Talk with your parents and agree on a contingency plan. The one I have with mine is to get to a hotel in Canada and figure out what to do next. Just an example. Yeah. Axolotus. Illinois is a blue island in the Midwest as well. Lots of people already come to my local Planned Parenthood to access care they can't get in their state. Yeah, Planned Parenthood, another great recommendation, and a lot of people, Planned Parenthood goes incredibly unutilized in the trans community.
Missions in jeopardy.
Planned Parenthood, I get all of my gender affirming care from Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is the place to go. Like if you are curious about getting on HRT, they have everything you need. They do entire blood workups there. They like do really quick testing. Like it's a great environment, and they usually have staff who have already dealt with that stuff, which is a thing that a lot of people, when you go to your primary care provider, and this has caused a lot of problems for a lot of trans people, if you go to your primary care provider, odds are if it's just a regular run-of-the-mill like clinic or place that you go, they probably don't know about trans care. Planned Parenthood generally does. Another thing that Planned Parenthood is really good about is PrEP, which if you are sexually active in the queer community, you should be on PrEP. Like that's just true. Mocha Pancakes, as a trans masculine, I'm honestly scared of being shot on the streets, especially because I have a conservative right across the street. Oh fuck. All right, let's look on Trump. On Trump Truth Social. I would say Mocha Pink. I'm unable to. Oh, because I have a VPN? Fuck you, dude. What? Okay, whatever. I'll find it on Twitter. I'm sure. What the hell?
Can anyone provide first aid?
you can get those kind of like apparatus on Amazon for fairly cheap. Get one of those carbon fiber extendable rods, because you need to defend yourself, and that's a blanket statement, I would say, for literally anybody. God, Blair White made a post. Okay. He just confirmed being shot. This is from the parody Marjorie Taylor Greene. Donald Trump. I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response in the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. That's very odd. Wouldn't... The shooter was wearing high heels. What? Where are you getting that? I just saw somebody say the shooter's wearing high heels. God damn it. Is the sound gone? Dog?
I think we all see where this is heading. Time to think about extraction options.
You are muted on Twitch. Over on Twitch. Cool. No, we can hear you. Yeah, it's just Twitch. It's just Twitch. Awesome. Love it. Twitch. So rad. SS said that Trump got hit with glass, not a bullet. Did like the glass bounce off? I mean, somebody's gonna have like a 3D mock-up or a breakdown or something soon. Charlie Bluebird, thank you for $1.09. I'm gay, living in Texas. I'm genuinely scared. Connect with your local community. I don't know how old you are, and that's something I forget. I have minors in my audience, so that's something I commonly forget. But if you are in a community, if you are of age, like try and go to, even if it is just like a drag brunch, like a gay night out, local gay bars, like whatever. And this is, if you're of age, do not try and go to these things. 4, 3.
This will be a fun report.
Because those are also like places where you can meet fellow people and connect. It's not, it doesn't have to all just be like community outreach and soup kitchens and like stuff like that. Yeah, Twitch, I don't know what's going on. I don't. Let me see if I can write in Twitch.
For those of you just tuning in, we want to play for you the moment when Secret Service agents rushed former President Trump off the stage. We want to caution you, though, we don't know exactly who said what's captioned on the screen or why they said it, because it was such a chaotic moment, but here it is.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move? We're clear. Let's move. Let's move. We're clear.
And again, that moment of chaos, you hear the screams in the crowd as people are beginning to learn that something is amiss there. Our investigative correspondent, Tom Winter, is with us on the phone. He continues to get reaction and national security details. What can you tell us now?
Lester, while I'm on the phone with you, one of my colleagues is on the phone with the local district attorney in that county who tells NBC News that the alleged shooter, the person they believe responsible for this event, is in fact deceased. So again, to repeat, the local district attorney in the area where the Trump rally is telling one of our colleagues right now that in fact the alleged shooter, the person they believe to be responsible for this, is deceased. We do not yet have a name or identity of that individual. We don't know their background, where they may have come from, any sort of personal motivations. That's information we're still trying to gather, but that's the headline. The second component of this, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell myself and colleague Jonathan Deans that there appear to have been, or they're looking into whether or not several other individuals were shot that were in the crowd. Those are not individuals suspected to be involved in this. Those were either rally goers or bystanders, but they're looking into whether at least 2 other individuals were shot as well. So that's the latest update that would seem to indicate to us a couple of things. One, they believe they know who did this. They believe they know where they were, potentially what they were using, and they can now start to do a lot of
This influencer was just outed for faking cancer to scam his fans. How someone could stoop this low is beyond me, but this seems to be a common theme with this guy that we're talking about today, known as Boogie2988. He was originally known for being his character Francis, who was obsessed with Mountain Dew and World of Warcraft, but now a decade later, he's pulling off crypto scams on his fans. In doing so, he released this abomination of a video where he decided to act as a fat Andrew Tate in an attempt to build hype around his meme token built around him called Fatty.
Listen up, all you top G's. There's some misinformation being spread around right now by certain influencers, but I'm here to tell you the truth and the hacks to help you break free from the matrix so you can be a brokey like me.
Yeah, that token went the way influencer coins normally do. The coin is down 96% since the launch day, and the insiders of it managed to grab a quick 6 figures from using Boogie's name. Here's an image of the top wallets and how much they managed to profit out of this quick pump and dump. I don't even think Boogie is aware of how much money these guys made off of him, but apparently this is a common theme with him, as the documentary about him confirmed this over
over and over again. He just takes the quick cash and doesn't think about the ramifications that come with it. But CoffeeZilla called him out about this weird crypto play. And Boogie, he claimed he did all of this because he had cancer and expensive medical bills.
But I have so much free time that I spend a lot of it on my Discord now because I'm just bored out of my mind. I don't have places to go. I don't have money to spend. I'm literally just fighting for my life over here. And a lot of that involves staying home, spending my money where it needs to be spent, and trying to just not stress myself out to make my polycythemia vera any worse.
How much did you get paid for this total?
I was given $5,000 up front with a promise of $5,000 on the back end after a week of coming on the Telegram, doing some live streams, doing some tweets about it, and all along the ways talking about how it's a coin that'll make you go broke.
Apparently, Boogie will just accept $5,000 to push a blatant scam on his fans. I don't know if they actually fulfilled their promise of giving him the other $5,000, knowing it's likely anonymous crypto people who no longer need him. I wouldn't be surprised if he never received that other $5,000. In a way, that's deserved for falling for this to begin with.
If I'm being genuine with you, and I do want to be genuine with you and the rest of the internet, I'm in pretty dire need of money. I have a lot of medical bills, and I'm fighting cancer, and I very much like not to go around with my healthcare too much, but that's something I would genuinely have to consider. And I know that from watching your videos in the past, if I say maybe here, a lot of people are going to take that as a no, and it might end up being a no. So I may as well give you a hard no here, because I very, very much need the money. I'm on $1,800 for the medications right now. I need the money to pay for that. I have a $2,000 a month mortgage. I genuinely would like very much to keep my home. I'd very much like, but I don't want to do it at the price of ripping anybody off. And
that is kind of what's happened here a little bit, though. You know that.
But while that behavior is sad, the new revelation makes it all pathetic, because a couple nights ago, Destiny went onto the Lol Cow podcast to confront him about his cancer. And that's where this clip that will likely haunt Boogie forever happened.
Boogie, 2488, you are being confronted tonight. I am 99% sure that you are faking. No, don't move. You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Okay, let's hear that.
Let's hear that. Did the doctor ever tell you, or did he ever say the word cancer?
He said polycythemia vera, which is a form of cancer, as he explained it to me. And no, it is not secondary polycythemia, which is Nicholas Diorio's explanation for this bullshit.
So I think it is secondary polycythemia.
Well, then why would he call it polycythemia vera? Why would he tell me that I have hormone markers in my blood that tells me I have polycythemia vera? Why does he order a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it?
Well, if he ordered a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it, it would be weird that you told us that you already had a diagnosis and a confirmation.
Because the markers are in my blood. The hormone markers are in my blood, Destiny.
Correct. But you said that you'd received a diagnosis, but now you just told me you got a bone marrow biopsy.
It's a diagnosis, and now we're confirming. It's called a confirmation.
Oh, no. And this just sent the internet in the weirdest spiral, because I've never seen so many people wish that someone had cancer as a form of support, meaning at least he wouldn't have been lying to promote his crypto scam and raise money that he had cancer.
The hormone markers are already in my blood.
Yep.
And so I think we are confirming it with the biopsy because I'm wanting to do that, because I'm praying to God I don't have cancer.
He doesn't care.
I'm praying to God I'm taking the 1 in a million chance that they're wrong, and there's another reason I have the hormone imbalances in my blood.
Yeah. Why are you praying to God 2 years after you said that you have cancer that you don't have cancer?
Yeah, and at that point, Boogie basically just lost the argument, and Destiny then doubled down by saying this.
If Boogie can confirm, that he has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer, I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
No, hey, you need the money. You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
I said this. I said this years ago.
What's so insane about this is he would happily take $5,000 to scam his fans, but not $5,000 to show proof that he does have cancer to a private party. But then he slips up by saying this.
Pray what you got to pray.
Oh, this is actually so
sad, Boogie.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is.
This is like horrible.
It is what it is. And it's so funny because I'm looking at my portal right now. I'm looking. No. You.
Oh boy. Okay, so since he was saying he was looking at his portal, a bunch of other creators started pitching into the pot that Destiny originally donated to if he shows his medical records and confirms he actually has cancer, including some ordinary gamers pledging $50,000. I think the end total was roughly $80,000 plus a trip to Disney. And for some reason, he wouldn't show it privately to one trusted party on the podcast. This guy needs money, so why he would decline 80 grand to just prove his innocence, that's beyond me. Seems like he's lying. There is just no other explanation here. Either way, CoffeeZilla then called him back a day later and things got so much worse for him.
But what I can do is confront Boogie on this second claim, the cancer and medical bills, because I found out a few days ago that these statements were false. I know this because Boogie gave us a timeline of when he got paid in the first place. So when were you paid the $5,000?
5 days ago.
Later, I verified with Boogie this payment occurred on June 19th. And when Boogie said all the money was gone on June 26th, that gives us a window of time where he should have receipts for about $5,000 of medical expenses. Boogie, when I asked, agreed to share these expenses with me. And the following conclusions are based on him providing accurate records, which I know is a dubious idea. But when he shared what he had, it fell far short of even what I was expecting. He gave me 2 receipts for the time period, one for $154, the other for a copay of $60, a total of $214 by the time we talked.
How is this possible? I don't know. I guess it was just the money isn't gone. It was a curricular term, and he's not used to this level of scrutiny.
I have a specific thing I need to do with it. Have you never heard that colloquialism? Use Google then. It's very common.
I'm saying...
I'm not used to this level of scrutiny.
This very much so seems like the meme of the guy riding the bike and taking himself out. YouTube career that's going fine, then lies about having cancer to justify scamming his fans and raising money. Once he hits the ground, he blames the people reacting to his actions and screams. He's not used to this level of scrutiny. I'm almost in disbelief in how much Boogie has fallen. It seems like the guy who once was this like wholesome dude, but slowly became more and more jaded from messing up and not taking any accountability for his own actions. Making mistakes in life, that is normal. Life is one big lesson. But if you never accept your mistakes and learn from them, you become this bitter person who blames everyone except the true person at fault here, yourself. The only person that can change Boogie's life is himself. And right now, he's just burning down everything that was once a blessing for him. And now he's disabled his Twitter account. And this could be either to vanish from the internet or to delete evidence of him lying, because you now have a bunch of tweets like this resurfacing from just a couple weeks ago. The whole situation is just unbelievable. Keemstar made a TLDR of what he thinks happened, which I guess can make sense. But here it says, to the best of my knowledge, based on everything I know, Boogie went on steroids that could cause cancer in the blood years ago and was warned of the dangers. 2 years ago, he lost all of his money in crypto. He went to the doctor and had high red blood cells indicating he may have cancer blood. Before he got any confirmation, he rushed to make a YouTube video announcing he had cancer. 2 years later, he still doesn't have confirmation that he has cancer, but he's been telling everyone he does and used it for sympathy multiple times. Whether it was promoting his crypto scam or asking people to financially support him lying about the cancer could be considered fraud. He is scheduled to get a confirmation test to see if he has cancer soon, so ironically, even though he's lied, he may still have cancer. The whole thing is just sad as hell. Honestly, it is beyond sad. It's pathetic. I know the dude has been struggling for a while, but he just keeps doing shit that makes everything so much worse for himself. I've slowly just came to terms that he's just an odd guy. I've had one interaction with him in person, and it was just beyond weird. Keemstar has now came out and said that he's going to make sure he gets Boogie back onto the show, so at least Boogie has that if he decides to return. His brother, who's also a doctor, is claiming that Boogie does have cancer, but that's hard to take his word when Boogie won't accept $80,000 to confirm he actually has cancer privately. I mean, it is hard to get more pathetic than this situation. We pretty much all have someone close to us that we've either lost to cancer or is currently battling it. So it's hard to have any sympathy left for Boogie.
Capture zone contested.
predominantly white, but young, straight men who are going down the chud.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, I have a story for you that starts out as a tragedy. Then it kind of quickly switches to a mystery, then a hunt, and a less than happy ending. And to top it off, it begins with my favorite, the stupidest idea you will ever hear. It's definitely
Be advised.
no
Zone
joke.
A in danger.
Before we get into it, please subscribe to see new stories further dark and talk
operator.
true
Shake it off
crime,
and apply your
unsolved
training.
mysteries. You can see them every week, but now, let's give it a go.
Allied forces on Zone B.
It was pretty, early in the morning on February 23rd, 2008, that 39-year-old Ari Squire was getting out of bed that morning. His still sleeping wife, Denise, she slept in a separate bedroom and she was still there, sawing wood away. This was a Saturday, right? So a good time to take it handy, During the week, Ari was a co-founder, co-partner of the small construction company in this Chicago area. So Saturday was when he could rest up after a long week and really get into his passions. See, Ari wasn't gonna have a cup of coffee and sit in front of the box. He would be out early that morning to engage folks in his passion, which was diesel trucks. Mad about them? There's a bear shit in the woods. This was Ari's time to himself. This was Ari time, when he would go out into the small garage they had in their backyard of their upscale Chicago.
So let's go to the short-term, one-night stand, sequential relationship types. Okay, who are they? Psychopathic, narcissistic, Machiavellian, and sadistic.
Because birth control is central to their cultural agenda. With fewer women on the pill, more women will become mothers. Some of them will drop out of the workforce and discover fulfillment and happiness as wives, as homemakers. And this is the real crisis that the Washington Post and the other left-wing rags are worried about. The last thing that the elites want to see is a movement of women fully embracing their own womanhood and men fully embracing their manhood.
So conservatives are always going to be really weird on the issues of things like sexual relationships. And we saw, that video going viral, or at least the thumbnail going viral, of Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson talking about sexual boredom. And I actually watched that video today. Don't watch it, but it's not really relevant to the topic, and it's actually a load of nonsense, to be honest, what they're saying.
The amount of sexual boredom in this society is extraordinary. You have more sexual choice and variety available than literally any time in human history. Given free license by the state because there are no intermediate social institutions in which sort of informal mechanisms of disapproval can make themselves felt. And one of the things it turns out psychologically that human beings are turned on by is taboo. And so when you get rid of literally every taboo, then people tend to get bored. And then the question is,
well, there's no novelty.
Right, exactly. Novelty goes away. And particularly men are driven by sexual novelty. It's something that is very deeply ingrained. And the power of what marriage was supposed to be is it takes this short-term hedonic desire. And it's said, because female virtue still existed, that in order for you to obtain this, you're going to have to sublimate that desire for the building of something greater.
But I did want to talk today about the conservative war, basically against sex without procreation in mind,
focused, operator.
Which,
winning.
sounds really strange, and it is. And the weirder part of it now is, I've always understood that in terms of a religious thing. I was raised Catholic, and of course I knew that because of the Catholic Church's stance on things like contraception, particularly condoms, there were loads of communities around the world that actually wouldn't use them, even when the transmission of STIs like HIV were absolutely rife, because their religious leaders told them that using this and basically putting any barrier between your body or God's will and creating life is sinful and stuff. And you still do get that element of it, but now a lot of them talk about it as it's a morally impure thing. Like Jordan Peterson, as we're gonna look at today, he talks about it being just ethically bad to have casual relationships. He is the arbiter of morality, considering all the shit he says about so much stuff and how bad a person this is. It is funny him telling everyone else, yeah, the worst thing you can do in the world is have have like casual sex and casual relationships. But it is a darker thing because it's translating to Republicans are actually trying to basically make sure women have as little access to contraception as possible. Now, of course, you'll notice this discussion is mainly focused on men trying to take away contraception from women, not men trying to take contraception away from other men. That pretty much is not even in the discussion, to be honest, like condoms and stuff. It's mainly all focused on the pill because all of this comes back to controlling women and controlling women's bodies and conservative men fundamentally wanting to trap you in relationships with them and you to serve as their baby machine and maid, as it's very clear Matt Walsh sees women as this. So I want to talk about all of this today, and yeah, follow me on social media at The Tabernacle on my personal Instagram and also my travel Instagram, and check me out on Threads and Blue Sky. And if you want to support the channel, trying to build up as many $1 to $3 patrons as possible, and benefits include on Patreon getting access to videos early, and you can also watch them ad-free on Patreon itself. And if you want to, you can also join the patron-only Discord server. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. So fear-mongering specifically about the contraceptive pill for women literally has been something that has been going on basically since the pill became widely available. And an article in CBS, and I think it's interesting because when I hear this sentiment echoed today, in a 1966 feature on the pill and morality, the magazine US News and the World Report asked, is the pill regarded as a license for promiscuity? Can its availability to all women of childbearing age lead to sexual anarchy? The author, Pearl Buck, took an even more dire doomsday approach to the pill when she warned in a 1968 Reader's Digest article, everyone knows what the pill is. It is a small object, yet its potential effect upon our society, many may even be more devastating than a nuclear bomb. And this is something I actually heard like Matt Walsh describe today, so it's clear whoever this woman is, he's been reading this woman and it mirrors his own views. The funny thing is, obviously we know the 1960s, particularly in America, as like the sexual revolution. But what is also funny is you can only really argue against the pill and a woman having the ability to choose if she wants to take it or not if you come at it from, yeah, like patriarchy, the status quo, and keeping women in their place we've put them in. That is all like a really, really good thing. And yeah, when half the population are women, it's pretty likely they're not going to see it that way and not see the benefits of being able to engage in relationships without the massive risk of having someone else's child, which will then tie you to them basically for the rest of your life, potentially. Now, obviously, a lot of what these conservatives do is they take the well-documented side effects of the pill and they use that against everyone advocating for it. It's like, don't put this poison into your body. And why they do that is because, you know, it is a well-known side effect. Like, I know women in my own life and they spoke about it, how the pill does have pretty terrible side effects on things like mood and everything, and they've actually chosen not to take it. I've known people in my circle who have said they don't take it anymore because the side effects are so terrible, right? So it's up to them to have contraception a different way, whether that be, you know, the man taking the initiative, being more careful, wearing a condom, or other forms of contraception women can use. But at the same time, like with everything, it's a choice, and for lots of women, they use it for medical reasons. It's not all about like casual hookups with some random bloke and stuff. But yeah, it's funny to me, conservatives who position themselves as the champions of freedom are so against things like contraception specifically for women. And also, you're not going to hear this outright, but I want everyone to keep this in mind. Obviously, the people you're going to see today are white people. White North Americans, and I think I have a British woman. And they're worried mainly about white people not having enough children because, yeah, they're terrified of the great replacement. Now, Elon Musk also is someone who advocates against contraception because he has some sort of breeding kink. And I might make a whole video on this. I've been actually pretty horrified as I've made my way through the Dune books. I'm currently on the God Emperor one. It's pretty, like, insane to see that Elon Musk clearly models a lot of his politics on these books, especially the breeding programs. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk actually sees himself as like God Emperor Leto II. I might delve into that in a whole video because it is very disgusting. So I know Elon Musk is obsessed with science fiction. But let's get into, you know, the more serious issues a bit more. So let's talk about conservative influences in America. I just want to talk about Jordan Peterson, who's just so strange on this. And he doesn't come at it from the angle of, you know, explicitly that it's something religious. It's more about just like hedonism is just morally bad according to him. So let's listen to some of his arguments against just like casual relationships and, you know, casual sex.
I don't think there's any such thing as a casual sexual relationship. I don't believe that. I've never seen any evidence that that's the case. I think that people rationalize
Holy shit, he's such an incel.
That constantly because they want to believe, they want to believe that short-term hedonistic gratification is ethically acceptable. And I don't think it is. I think that it trains you to treat yourself and other people as instrumental objects of short-term pleasure. Obviously, is that how you want to train yourself? You're going to have a long-term relationship at some point? How are you going to train yourself for that? Okay, so having said that, and then, you know, how carefully should we conduct ourselves in sexual matters? I would say, well, as carefully as you conduct yourself in any matter of importance. And that stretches all the way up to the top, whatever the top is. You know, you're going to treat the other person as if they're a divine locus of consciousness or a disposable entity. Well, you know, those are the borders. I don't think there is such a thing as casual sex. I think that's indistinguishable from masturbation, which I also don't regard as a particularly heroic act. And I think people have that sense, and I don't think that that's culturally instantiated, because in some sense we've done everything we can to eradicate every last vestige of sexual shame. We wanted to have a serious conversation about sexual impropriety on campuses, for example. The first thing we'd focus on is alcohol, but we don't want to have a serious conversation about that because, well, we don't want to have chaperone parties like we were in the 1950s. And it's like, well, you know, having some older people around to keep the drunken orgy under control actually turns out not to be such a bad idea.
I love in that how Jordan Peterson is just such a nerd that he talks about, yeah, we should chaperone gatherings of young people and taking alcohol because, yeah, that's actually a good thing to police people morally. And I do find it funny all the time, especially Jordan Peterson, how much they demonize what they perceive to be like Islamists and stuff. It's like, you agree with all of them on everything, right? Like, religious conservatives, you just all agree with each other. If you realize that would be really dangerous for the rest of us because you'd all unite and subject us all to this conservative, religious, whatever he likes to call it, morality. But yeah, that is like interesting how he doesn't think, you know, it's ethically right to have casual sexual relationships. And the only purpose of them, the only purpose of having a sexual relationship with anyone before, I don't know, getting into like a serious relationship or getting like engaged and stuff, is just for hedonistic pleasure. Now, of course, hookup culture is a thing, and yeah, I don't care about that at all. I don't think most modern people really care about it at all. There is a lot to be said about, you know, relationships in the social media age, dating apps and all that stuff, and I get it. But if there are downsides, the plus sides are, you want to know if you're sexually compatible with someone before you like make the commitment or a longer term commitment, right? It's obviously a good way to realize if you're a woman, because that's what we're talking about here from this point of view today. You know, intimacy does say a lot about someone in terms of like if they're selfish, how they actually act in that moment. Do they care about the gratification of both of you, or is it all about them? And although people like Jordan Peterson, if you just see sex as an act to make children, you probably don't care about that part because why would you? But for most modern people, that's important to a relationship. And it's something that could obviously cause issues in the future. So if you experience it early on, you can thankfully factor that into your judgment of the overall relationship. And also I've seen so many posts on the relationship Reddit of people who get married very young from religious backgrounds, whether that be like arranged marriages in like South Asian communities, or what happens a lot in like white Christian evangelical communities in the US, people getting married at like 20 years old and then realizing, oh, you know, this sex life is just not satisfying to me and I got to be with this person until I die. Like, yeah, that's the benefit of the sexual revolution, that all genders can get a glimpse quickly into what the dynamic will be like, and they can make a better judgment of if they can work through that or if they're like compatible at all. And of course, that goes without saying, everyone has their own taste. People have things like kinks that are important to them as well and important to their experience of this stuff. And you just might not be compatible on that level. And I know to a lot of Christian and religious types that's not important, but to most, like, you know, more modern people, that is important. And especially how we're generally taught about sex in like a patriarchal system is of course important to women to see if a man will prioritize her as well, because as men, we're not really taught much about that, right? You kind of have to discover it on your own. And I remember when I was taking like sex education in school, we barely learned anything about women, and it's not like I grew up in a really repressed time or anything like that, right? So I hate to think about how these men, especially if you listen to Jordan Peterson or Matt Walsh, what you would be like. So yeah, I think the casual hookup culture has the plus side of people being able to work this out. So yeah, it's a good thing. I'm not a religious conservative. I'm not someone who grew up repressed. I don't have loads of judgment on these things like people like Jordan Peterson. I just find this like demonizing of it from his perspective, in terms of him saying it's not fulfilling or helpful to human life. Really bizarre. But we have the darker side, of course, when we have people like fascists, like Matt Walsh, talking about this as well. Now, he has a couple of videos on this. He has been against contraception for a long time because he believes if, you know, you can't handle the responsibility of having a child from his act, then just abstain. And I don't even think I got taught that in Catholic secondary school, because they just appreciated the realities of just like modern life. People are just gonna have sex anyway, so you better give them contraception, especially like older teenagers, and they're not really thinking about the child side. But yeah, I had this video here and I think it reveals a lot.
Because birth control is central to their cultural agenda. With fewer women on the pill, more women will become mothers. Some of them will drop out of the workforce and discover fulfillment and happiness as wives, as homemakers. And this is the real crisis that the Washington Post and the other left-wing rags are worried about. The last thing that the elites want to see is a movement of women fully embracing their own womanhood and men fully embracing their manhood. A move back towards the family, away from materialism, away from self-preoccupation, towards marriage, towards parenthood. That's what they don't want to see. These people have been waging a war on the family for decades, and the birth control pill was their nuclear bomb. The family is the greatest threat to them. And a society full of families, of intact, happy families with attentive mothers and strong fathers, that is a society that has rendered these people basically powerless. That is their fear. And they fear it like they fear nothing else.
So yeah, in Matt Walsh's ideal future, it'd basically be like Germany in the 1930s, right? Women would know their role because they're happier as mothers, right? And men would be manly and they just have like infinite numbers of children. Now, obviously, he said the nuclear bomb quote there as well, because they see everything to do with the pill and sexual liberation as an attack on the family. But also, if we're going to make this argument, right, that society is better with happy families, why is the contraceptive pill not a good thing to that degree, right? Because if you're not on contraception, and we accept that more casual relationships are more common, if you just get pregnant with a random person, and then, you know, in Matt Walsh's framing, he wants people to be happy wives and mothers or whatever, right? Are you going to be more happy if you can control who you have children with, or you might end up with some random person and have their child? Will you be a happy wife and mother then? Of course you won't, and that doesn't lead to happy families. So controlling who you can have a child with is way more beneficial, even to the aim he's talking about. But again, he doesn't want women's agency. He doesn't want women to decide if they want to become wives and mothers. He thinks all women should just be baby machines, and that is their worth to society. Because this guy is a fascist. Not that he needs to tell us that anymore. But yeah, that argument is ridiculous. And you can see conservatives don't care about freedom. Any conservatives. They just want to control you. They want to control women. And they want to do this for what they feel like is men's benefit. Because Matt Walsh is a guy who has like 6 children. probably isn't very active in their lives, just sits around the Daily Wire studios making terrible videos while his wife does everything. And like I've always shown you that clip, there's a clip of them all bragging about how they do no housework. Doesn't seem like a very equal relationship, and I bet most people in a relationship like that, yeah, they probably have some issues if you're not splitting the housework. And I wouldn't call people trapped in these marriages and trapped with children people who'd be like particularly happy. But again, Matt Walsh knows what's best for you, just knock you up. And also what they want to do is end no-fault divorce. So if you actually have someone's child, you think they're the one, and they turn out to be a monster, oh, you can't actually leave. So you're trapped with them forever with the legal binding and having a child as well. People like Matt Walsh just want to live in a Handmaid's Tale. So I saw this other video on the Heritage Foundation page, and this one was funny. They're saying it's like pro-feminist to be against the pill, but also coated in some very weird conservative language. So listen to this.
I hear from great young women who were put on the pill at the age of 14, came off it so maybe 10 years later, and realised they'd done a complete personality flip. And actually, they, I was, one said, and I thought I was bipolar. But then it turned out actually it was just this psychoactive substance. What were they doing?
I can't condone it, but I get it.
And this was all to the purpose of rendering a woman receptive to what is, for the most part, loveless and sometimes extremely degrading sexual acts. And I struggle to see in what way that's in women's interest. And given the great many other things that, to my eye, are downstream of the entry into that paradigm, it seems to me that a good place to start would be a feminist movement against the pill, and for rewilding sex, returning the danger to sex, returning the intimacy, and really the consequentiality of sex. And a great deal follows from an intentional reconnection of women's opting intentionally to reconnect with the fullness of our embodied nature.
So basically, maybe a more woke version of just saying what Matt Walsh was saying there, basically saying that you shouldn't have sex unless you want to procreate, and it would actually be a feminist position to get rid of the pill, because with the pill, sex has become meaningless and often really, really degrading for women. So it's not like a pro-women position to be pro the pill, which allows you to have more casual relationships at a minimum, but also, like I said, you can be on the pill and be in a long-term relationship and don't want to get pregnant. What's wrong with that? How does that diminish the sexual experience? And also, humans have been having casual sexual relationships for as long as humans existed. These people often talk about the greatness of Sparta, of ancient Athens, or ancient Rome, or all these other societies before Christianity, right? They all love them, especially that Roman Empire one. People like Matt Walsh love the Roman Empire. What do you think these people do? I think humans have done throughout all of human history. They not engage in casual sex because they didn't have a contraceptive pill. Is that something that really, really happened? No, of course it didn't. Someone who grew up in the Christian faith and stuff like that, I understand that religions like Christianity have heavily demonized this stuff, and pretty much lots of the stuff I'm showing you today is just a result of the Christian faith. But at the same time, they're acting like the actual natural order of being a human is only having sex for the purpose of procreation, which is just not true. Now, just on this religious note as well, I was reading some rando American Catholic Christian blog. I don't know who this person is, but I just wanted to end it with this. So guy called Christopher West. So the question of contraception is what caused me to leave the Catholic Church in the 1980s, and as I continue to wrestle with it, it's what brought me back in the 90s. As more and more people like me search for the source of today's societal chaos and gender confusion, they're rediscovering the sexual math that all Christian churches understood until rather recently. When we fail to reverence the fact that genitals are meant to generate, society itself degenerates. Few realize today that until 1930, all Christian leaders condemned contraception. That year, the Anglican bishops were first to succumb to external pressures and reluctantly changed their position. In the years that followed, denomination after denomination shifted from condemnation of contraception to acceptance to advocation. With the dawn of the pill in the 1960s, global pressure was now being put on the Catholic Church. Pope Paul VI shocked the world in 1968 when he issued Of Human Life, reaffirming traditional Christian teaching against contraception, including the pill. He was scorned globally, but he understood well that a contraceptive world would become a world of rampant immorality. A world where women and childbearing are degraded, a world in which governments trample on the rights of the family, and a world in which human beings believe they can manipulate their bodies at will. Welcome to the new world order. So I think that from a very conservative Catholic American just sums up like how they view this stuff. They view it as all linked together, as they always have with the sexual revolution. Like once you just give them an inch with maybe a contraceptive pill, they're just going to destroy everything. So people being transgender or gay, that is also linked to the contraceptive pill, all that stuff. But of course, all these people think religion is the basis of our morality, despite the fact that throughout human history, all these religions have been used to justify terrible things, and some of the most immoral people in our current society, just think of all these terrible world leaders, think of Netanyahu, think of President Putin, think of someone like Joe Biden, all claim to be people of the Christian faith, but have no problem with killing hundreds of thousands of people. And often they do it for this faith as well, as we see in places like Israel. It's very clear, even if they're coming at it from a medical angle, which they skew the facts, it's all about the religious angle. And it's all about the Catholic version of family or the fascist Christian version of family, where women don't have autonomy, women don't have choices, women have to just have sex to procreate because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about women's pleasure or anything like that. It's all about just a man has sex with you to have his offspring, you will raise it and he won't actually really help with that, and you'll be trapped in that marriage to the end of time. Like many generations that came before us, when our society was even more patriarchal. And that's what they hate. They just hate equality, and they just hate gender equality. And thankfully, in many countries like the UK, we're seeing that being pushed back a lot, because we did get a lot of the more Christian MPs actually voted out recently who did believe stuff like this about things like contraception. But with America, it's of course a real danger, because although most Americans, even most Republicans, agree with contraception, when you have a small group like, people in the Heritage Foundation or just generally rich evangelicals who donate a lot to the Republican Party, they can get stuff like this passed. Because the capitalist system has subverted democracy, which allows just a few rich people to get their religious agenda passed and try and turn back the clock on women's rights. So that is another fear with things like Project 2025 and just Republican and conservative governments around the world. But that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. So it's fair to say this year, a lot of high-profile content creators have been exposed for doing pretty gross stuff all around. And of course, today the focus is going to be on Dr. Disrespect. But I also want to talk a little bit about, I Am Alex and even Vosh in the past.
Let's move.
And the point of the video is more to talk about the
scenario
fans
is kinetic.
and
Plan accordingly.
why people will go to certain lengths to defend people, when if it was anyone else, they'd have no problem with saying what they did was creepy, gross, illegal, whatever. What conditions people to do that? And I really want to get into that today, just as a lesson to people that they shouldn't do this. The amount of defense I've seen for Dr. Disrespect from his fans, or just trying to cling on to any hope he hasn't done something really bad, is just blowing my mind. They're even going as far to say, well, if the person he texted was 17 and a half, that's actually not too bad compared to if they were 13 or something. That distinction to them now apparently is a massive difference between if they like him anymore or don't. Even though this was a 35-year-old man at the time with a wife and a kid, cheating on his wife and then messaging a minor using Twitch's like whispers feature, right? Apparently that's not enough to not like this guy because, as we've spoke about many times on this channel, you've heard it a lot, parasocial relationships. And I'm just gonna dive straight into this one. I'll skip the bits about promoting my channel on Patreon, but yeah, you know the drill. Go check out the social medias, support me on Patreon if you want. And on that note, because I'm talking about content creators, let's talk about myself. So, how much do you actually know about me, viewer? You might be someone, it's likely you've never seen any of my content, so you know absolutely nothing about me. You might have been subscribed for a month, you might have been subscribed for 6 months, you might have been subscribed for 5 years, you might have been a subscriber on Patreon for 2 years. We might have spoke in Instagram DMs, we might have spoke on Discord Messenger or something like that, right? And that's a relationship a lot of people have with content creators. You support the content creator, you might give them money because you like their work, and you might actually have some sort of personal interaction with them. And as someone who likes to message on particularly Instagram DMs, I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with a fair few of my followers. And I guess because we've had personal conversations, you feel like you even know me really well. And that's the danger, isn't it? That's the parasocial relationship at work. But you can have this without having any personal relationship. Now, I'd ask people like who've been subscribed for a significant amount of time, like how much do you actually like know about me? How old am I? What's my name? What's my favorite TV show? What's my favorite music? Like, what do I care about most in the world? What do I care about in terms of politics? What do I care about in terms of history? Do I have a big family? Do I have a lot of friends? What's my national background? What's my religious background? What am I like as a person? Am I a funny person? Am I a nice person? Am I an empathetic person? Am I pleasant to just everyday people? And that's something that, even though a lot of you might think you know me, you would probably not be able to answer a lot of those questions. And it's the same about a lot of your favorite streamers. And I think streaming is even worse because you think you're getting a very personal insight into this person because they're talking so much shit for like 8 hours a day, right? And they're talking so much shit about so many different things. So you think from that you can kind of ascertain, is this a nice person? And it's also, you're having a one-way friendship with that person. You know everything about them. You might obsess about, you know, little things they like, and you might feel like your lifestyles are compatible and you would actually be friends.
Zone compromised.
Hey everyone. We recorded the following episode on the morning of Saturday, July. Hey everyone, we recorded the following episode on the morning of Saturday, July 13th. Obviously, after we recorded this, something happened. You're, I'm sure, already aware. There was what appears to have been an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, which is crazy and shocking and scary and almost certainly bad for the next several months going into the election. Trump is fine, apparently. The latest I saw is he wasn't actually hit. He was hit by broken glass that the bullet had hit. It wasn't a direct hit. He was injured, but seems to have only been minor injuries. The shooter, who was not inside the rally but was firing from the rooftop of a barn nearby, was killed. I've seen conflicting reports of whether any of the spectators of the rally were themselves killed or injured. It's all very breaking news. There's not a lot of confirmed information, at least as of when I'm recording this little bit right here.
Orders are to take all the zones.
But yeah, basically that's what happened. I just didn't want to go right into this episode. This otherwise pretty low-key, low-stakes episode of Weekly Weird News on a day when something this huge happens without addressing it, at least somewhat. I'm sure that there will be a lot more news and information to come out of this in the coming days, and we will be covering all of that on Monday, but yeah, for now, that's all we really know. And yeah.
Hostile echelon just put their goggles
Just crazy. So, yeah, I'm kind of in shock here. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. But here's an episode we recorded before the shit went down.
Mission's wrapping up. Hostiles are facing a major
Please enjoy, I guess.
We've managed to go through an entire week with barely a mention of the world's richest and most annoying man. But that unfortunately ends now. What? Because Elon Musk is back at it again, talking about impregnating everyone. Good. There are only two things that seem to bring this man any genuine happiness: lawsuits and getting women pregnant. And therefore, his time is increasingly devoted to suing and being sued, and convincing women to let him father their children. So far, he's fathered 12 children from 3 different women that we know of, and it's recently been revealed that he's got a habit of asking female employees at his companies to please have his babies.
Yeah, so the man's got a breeder fetish, sort of. And he increasingly uses any available opportunity to promote the idea that population collapse is imminent unless everyone has a ton of kids.
Preferably his kids.
Yeah. So this latest news in the Elon Musk breeder subplot really isn't all that surprising if you've been paying attention, but it is still very weird. And this week, the New York Times published a piece on the latest in Elon Musk's plans for colonizing Mars, and it's full of the usual overly optimistic bullshit about how it's all right around the corner, and there will be 1 million people living on Mars 20 years from now. But it also includes a very interesting tidbit in this section right here.
Mr. Musk, 53, has directed SpaceX employees to drill into the design and details of a Martian city, according to 5 people with knowledge of the efforts and documents viewed by the New York.
Really isn't all that surprising if you've been paying attention, but it is still very weird. And this week, the New York Times published a piece on the latest in Elon Musk's plans for colonizing Mars, and it's full of the usual overly optimistic bullshit about how it's all right around the corner, and there will be 1 million people living on Mars 20 years from now. But it also includes a very interesting tidbit in this section right here.
Mr. Musk, 53, has directed SpaceX employees to drill into the design and details of a Martian city, according to 5 people with knowledge of the efforts and documents viewed by the New York Times. One team is drawing up plans for small dome habitats, including the materials that could be used to build them. Another is working on spacesuits to combat Mars's hostile environment, while a medical team is researching whether humans can have children there. Mr. Musk has volunteered his sperm to help seed a colony, 2 people familiar with his comments said. The initiatives, which are in their infancy, are a shift towards more concrete planning for life on Mars as Mr. Musk's timeline has hastened. While he said in 2016 that it would take 40 to 100 years to have a self-sustaining civilization on the planet, Mr. Musk told SpaceX employees in April that he now expects 1 million people to be living there in about 20 years. Where there's a jizz, there's a way.
I would love, to be working on this team. Like, yes, no, I'm designing all the space domes.
Yeah.
It feels like the tailors that are on the team sewing all of the Emperor's new clothes.
Yes.
No, sire, these are the most beautiful fabrics you've ever seen.
We live in a time when there are many emperors.
Yeah.
With many new clothes.
They're all naked, and they all have micro penises. So yeah, 1 million little Elons colonizing the red planet.
I mean, better there than here, I guess.
That is true, but did we say it on the show, or was that just a normal conversation where I was convinced that Elon is just donating at sperm banks?
Yeah, we have speculated that he is the father of many, many more children.
Yeah, he's just for sport going around to sperm banks and just leaving donations.
He's like the guy at the beginning of Prometheus who just sacrifices his DNA into the river of life to seed the human race. Elon's doing that without any self-sacrifice, obviously. He's just putting his sperm anywhere that will take it.
I mean, if he's
putting on a disguise and going down to the local sperm bank and just filling up like 10 jars. I'm like, holy shit, we've never seen that many jars come out of that room before.
Well,
I was saving it up.
If he's going to colonize Mars, I think it's about time that the rest of us start building a Death Star.
Yeah. It's time. We don't need Mars.
No.
It's just there.
But elsewhere in that article, we get this. But Mr. Musk has a plan. In his 2013 interview for the Science video, he said he had hoped to create his own species on Mars. An idea that he has repeated over the years to SpaceX employees and others close to the company. I think it's quite likely that we'd want to bioengineer new organisms that are better suited to living on Mars, he said in the interview. Humanity's kind of done that over time by sort of selective breeding.
Dropping in a new mag.
Woo, boy! Or girl. A planet full of genetically engineered Elon sapiens.
A new species of human, better than the original, new and improved, because unlike other humans, these humans have Elon DNA. So they're smarter, funnier, richer,
very funny.
Yeah, they're just better in every way. They got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Think of all the tunnels we could build on Mars with 1 million little Elons running around.
It's gonna be very funny when Elon gets to Mars with all his little Mars babies. And he's like, wait, hold on. All these domes that my engineers built for me don't work. What do you mean they were just conning me the entire time? Is this how it feels to be conned?
Yeah, he's gonna show up on Mars. First thing, he's gonna open the door to the dome, and somehow his finger's gonna get stuck in that door
Yeah, it's gonna
and
chop
get
it off.
chopped off.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna fire up the oxygen thing, and then it's like wee woo.
Yeah.
Oxygen thing not working.
It's
for
flashing
some
red.
reason.
I guess
Call service station.
Gotta take this in. Oh, it's gonna take them 17 months to get
Nearest
here?
service station is 1 million miles away.
Is this what I've been doing to people?
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
And yeah, setting aside how every reputable scientist who actually studies Mars is cautious, at best, about even guaranteeing that colonizing Mars is even possible, let alone right around the corner. There is, of course, the question of how such a place would be governed. You're creating a whole new world. How would that work?
Yeah.
Well, Elon has thought about this.
Exactly, yes.
Here you go. Mr. Musk has told people that he bought X, the social media platform, partly to help test how a citizen-led government that rules by consensus might work on Mars.
Do it. I'm so excited. Yes, this is actually the perfect scenario because it's on a planet that is unreachable by us, at least at this point in time for humans. They're far enough away.
If someone breaks the law, they just have to walk around with like a sandwich board that has a community note on it.
Yes.
It says this person actually broke the law.
Yeah, they're gonna have
Here's
like
the sources.
in the retro futurist kind of example, they're all gonna have shirts and hats that have scrolling texts that are constantly fact checking them. But no, what a miserable
Fellow
planet.
citizens added context to this person.
And do it like the Truman Show. I think we can get Mars funded by making it into a reality show where a bunch of Elon spawns all compete to see who can rule the planet.
I mean, there was that idea a little while ago. It wasn't tied to Elon, but there was this whole scam like 10 years ago where people were competing to colonize Mars as part of like a reality TV thing. And it, of course, fell apart because the important part where you figure out how to actually colonize Mars, they didn't do any of that. They just mostly thought about like raising money and
sitting in space for a long time.
Getting people to sign up, and also it was everyone who signed up obviously was signing up to leave their entire lives behind and die on Mars. So it was kind of a bleak, sad situation.
I am very excited to watch the reality show Elon and the Lord of the Flies. It is going to be fantastic. When X777-246 hashtag wins and blows that conch, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's more. He also has said that he envisions residents on the planet will drive a version of the steel-paneled Cybertrucks made by Tesla, his electric vehicle company.
Oh, good.
So, everything on Mars is obviously going to go great. Way better than anything here on Earth.
Yeah.
We got the Cybertruck up there getting stuck in regolith, and we got people running a government the way that Twitter is run, which is, of course, Twitter is run really well.
The best way possible.
Yeah.
If you get any dust on the windshield, don't worry, the part is in the mail.
Yeah.
It'll be shipped to Mars in no time.
Just stick your head out the window. Oh, shit, but there's no oxygen. Okay. Well, you know, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
User error. Go on the forums. Complain.
It's going to be the best version of Total Recall ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
All the dream sequences will be real.
They will be.
So this is obviously going to happen.
All of this.
And that's why we should take it very seriously.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting article that lays out the most up-to-date version of Elon's plans for Mars, but it's also just not very good journalism. Aside from a few asides where it notes that NASA doesn't think humans will even land on Mars until the 2040s, and that most experts believe any colonization of Mars will be a slow process unfolding over several decades. The article is mainly just presenting Elon's vision for Mars as if it's plausible, which at this point is pretty absurd, considering his 2 latest accomplishments have been ruining Twitter and inventing the most broken, busted-ass pickup truck of all time.
And ugliest.
Yeah. That's what I meant by busted.
Yeah.
It's a double entendre.
Yeah, that's true.
So Elon built his entire reputation on this kind of credulous media coverage. But at this point, you could fill a book with all the things that he said that would happen that did not. So, in conclusion, we feel pretty confident saying that there will not be millions of Elon clones populating Mars, and thank God. At least not in the near term. And if it does happen, don't act like I was upset that this is actually coming to fruition. I fully support an entire planet of Elons.
Yeah, I do kind of want to see what happens.
Yeah. And then we get a bunch of dictators to get all of their genocidal rage out on that planet. And then come back and we can have a peaceful planet here.
On Mars, we will settle our differences with MMA fights.
Yes, between the Elons.
Where there's a 6 month to a year-long taunting period where you say things to the other guy. And then at the end of that year, the fight just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and the space mom comes on the screen and tells people that, what if we did a joke contest?
And then you just conduct a poll where voters decide who won the fight.
Mission accomplished.
Not that every time we talk about this I have to bring it up, but I feel like every once in a while I have to bring up the fact that, like, not only should we be focusing on making this planet habitable instead of everything that we're talking about with Mars, the idea that anyone with a whatever you want to call a soul would want to go to a already dead planet.
Yeah, there's nothing fucking there.
Literally, we live on the most beautiful out of millions and millions of miles. Millions of miles. We live on the most perfect, beautiful planet with some of the most incredible natural things you could ever even imagine. And you're like, oh, you know what we should do? Go to a planet that's just red with craters.
Go to a planet that we have to start from, like, literally step 1.
Yeah.
Like, make this sustainable for any life whatsoever.
Just to live at all. Instead, it's just like, okay, we've got a perfectly good planet here. We haven't completely fucked it yet. We're very close, but there's still some beautiful, nature and natural resources and things to do. We should continue choking this one to death while building the life raft.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Literally aiming for the iceberg in the Titanic and being like, don't worry, we got lifeboats on board.
I feel like if you have billions of dollars at your disposal, you should be directing that money towards more immediate, relevant issues like this current planet.
The first thing my head always goes to is, like, what would Elon Musk, would he even feel anything like looking out at that valley in Yosemite, or like Zion National Park, or like the Swiss Alps or something like that? Like, do you feel anything? Is that what's wrong?
And again, like, say what you will about Zuck, he does seem to enjoy the Earth. He's always out there outdoors doing stuff.
I feel like he loves it. He doesn't understand the actual damage that he's doing to it by just existing in a way that he does. But at least he's enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah. Now that I think of it, I've never seen a single photo of Elon Musk in nature.
That's right. And he even says that he prefers to just work the entire time. And it's like, buddy, maybe if you could just enjoy some time alone with your thoughts in a beautiful place, it might alter your perspective on things.
Maybe we send him to Mars and that'll give him a new appreciation for Earth.
The perfect planet where there's nothing to do, nothing to see, and nothing to eat. So all I can do is work.
Also, no oxygen, and you're being just bombarded with dangerous doses of radiation constantly.
It's actually the perfect visual when you think of Zuck wakeboarding with the American flag on this beautiful water. And then you picture Elon on Mars, alone, sitting in a bunch of dust, typing on the computer, like, well, I like typing.
Like Dr. Manhattan, but he's just got his phone in his hand.
Yeah.
And he's just tapping the sideways crying laughing emoji.
The exclamation points and sideways laughing. It's actually pretty sad.
Yeah, but I don't feel bad for him.
No.
But speaking of billionaires and their absolute pipe dreams about colonizing the solar system, remember OceanGate? The company whose founder died a year ago, along with 4 passengers, when his tiny, shitty submarine imploded on the way down to the Titanic. As we discussed recently, this catastrophe does not seem to have deterred Stockton Rush's co-founder at OceanGate one bit. And he's already planning new, potentially dangerous submersible dives elsewhere, including one down to a place called the Portal of Hell.
Yay!
I'm sure that will go great. But that's not all he's up to. He's got a lot of big ideas. Here's The Independent.
A year on from the Titan submersible disaster, the OceanGate co-founder has laid out his ambitions to colonize the moon by 2063. I mean, all things considered, it's a much more humble plan than what Elon is suggesting.
We've been there.
Yeah, at least we've been there. People have gone out and walked on it.
It's weird. Are there any like obvious reasons why a place that we've been to so long ago hasn't been colonized yet? Could it perhaps be that it's fucking useless and there's no point to it?
And very difficult to do. And this guy with his 2063 target is way beyond. So I put more faith in this one.
In 40 years, buddy, look around you. Look at the beautiful planet you're living on. In 40 years, say goodbye to that. You're gonna live on the moon.
Yeah. Remember the Dust Bowl? We're doing it again.
Yep, Dust Planet.
Argentine-American businessman Guillermo Online, 58, says he believes that the technology to create a mirth.
I'm going to stop you there, buddy.
Yeah. A society spread across Earth and the moon is already available today. He claims colonization would have a dramatic effect on how people see themselves and speculated that humanity would begin to see ourselves not just as citizens of one country or another, but as inhabitants of Mirth. How can you be this rich and that bad at branding?
It's just picture it. Mirth.
Mirth.
Yeah, it's an ugly word. I can't tell you exactly why, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop you right there. This ends now. Mirth is not going to happen.
Yeah.
It continues. The entrepreneur has laid out the plans to colonize the moon as chairman of the Waypaver Foundation, which aims to make humanity a multi-planet species. One of its ventures is Project Moon Hut, which aims to begin the colonization by placing a basic hut on its surface, comparable to a double-wide trailer that is commonly used on job construction sites by 2031. The organization says that this will allow 4 to 8 people to begin living on the moon and prepare for the assembly of an industrial park, which would grow to house 90 people. 16 tenants have been selected to utilize the moon's unique environment for discovery, manufacturing, and selling products from the moon to Earth, according to a statement from Project Moon Hut imagining the process. This marks the beginning of the Mirth economic system.
Are they doing a company town on the moon?
Yeah. We're bringing it back.
Oh. So, Mirth.
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 And I, of course, will be Emperor of Mirth.
Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it, folks? But yeah, in a lot of ways, this is dumber and more ridiculous than Elon's plans for Mars. I mean, we already figured out the whole getting to the moon thing more than 50 years ago. The problem is, it's the moon.
Yeah.
It's real pretty to look at from here. And sure, I would imagine it's probably fun to do a little romp on for a little while.
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah. But there's nothing there. It is a dead satellite.
It's a dead rock.
There's nothing there. There's no need to colonize it. The only realistic plan that I thought might work, and I'm not a scientist, is that they would use it as like a pit stop on the way to Mars.
Yeah, I mean...
It'd be a truck stop.
But you only do that once the whole Mars thing is up and running.
And believe me, better than Mirth. I would much rather see a Buc-ee's on the moon.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be what happens. You can get your space shuttle.
Buc-ee's pays its employees well. We can't have that. This is a company town.
You get moon bucks. They're only valuable on the moon.
Yeah.
Everything that humans need to actually survive, it would have to be sent from Earth to the moon at great expense.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Get Amazon Prime.
Anytime we send anything up there, it's kind of a really big deal.
No, that's why he's doing Blue Origin, so that Amazon can send things to
send his packages.
Yeah. The only semi-plausible justification for colonizing the moon is something he doesn't even mention. If fusion energy is ever going to get figured out, there's potentially helium-3 that could be mined up there to power it, but we currently don't have it. And even if we did, we haven't figured out how extracting helium-3 from the moon would work.
Yeah, people love to point to this. They're like, oh, it's full of helium-3 from all the asteroids that hit it.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually look into this and they're like, yeah, so the parts per million, like you'd take like just a house full of moon dust and get maybe like a penny's worth of helium-3.
Yeah.
So there'd have to be some insane process for actually sorting through all that.
It's the alien from Futurama. It eats it all and then shits a little tiny space power brick.
We need the worm from Dune to eat all that dust.
So look, great idea. But that's not his only great idea.
He's got a lot of ideas.
Here's Business Insider.
Though it's often called Earth's twin, Venus doesn't seem like the ideal place for humans to thrive. Even Sondline agrees. You're absolutely right that when you talk about going to Venus, it would raise eyebrows outside the space industry. And it even raises eyebrows inside the space industry, he said. Venus is the warmest planet in the solar system. Its atmosphere is chock full of carbon dioxide. Its surface temperature could melt lead, and sulfuric acid rains down from its clouds. Its atmospheric pressure is crushing, more than 90 times that of Earth, according to NASA. In spite of this, Sondline doesn't see why humanity shouldn't attempt to live on the planet. He points to research that suggests there is a sliver of the Venusian atmosphere about 30 miles from the surface where humans could, theoretically, survive because temperatures are lower and pressure is less intense. If a space station could be designed to withstand the sulfuric acid in the clouds, Sondline says, hundreds to thousands of people could someday live in the Venusian atmosphere. He says a floating colony could hold 1,000 people in the Venusian atmosphere by 2050. Although exactly how this will happen is less clear.
He's invented the Jetsons.
Yeah. That looks pretty cool.
What if we did that, but for real?
It's that, and it's like Cloud City from Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the planet is absolutely inhospitable to any and all life, but like, what if there were a way to build a city in the clouds? This is worth my time, money, and effort.
Well, I don't know. This guy's going down to the portal of hell or whatever, so.
Yeah, it's a shame he'll not get the chance to realize any of these dreams the next time one of his submarines implodes.
Yeah, implodes, yeah. Definitely the guy that you want on a space mission.
Yeah, it is just hilarious. Like, he really thinks he can get past the Ocean Gate thing. Yeah. I feel like when you're talking about transporting people anywhere, whether it be the ocean or space,
yeah.
When you find out that the guy who's taking you there is a co-founder of the Ocean Gate Submersible Company, that's kind of a non-starter.
Yeah, I wouldn't take a fucking Ocean Gate airport shuttle, let alone a space shuttle.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even get in this guy's Uber if he was driving it.
No thanks. So yes, there should be a law. There ought to be a law that anytime some rich dipshit talks to the media about his plans for colonizing the solar system, you have to also reach out to at least two actual scientists to ask them if any of this is worth doing or even remotely possible.
Yeah, this is so annoying because this is exactly how we got Elon Musk in the first place. It's just he would say some fucking bullshit and then the press would just write it down as if like it's true.
Well, the problem with Elon Musk is like you can't say no to him because he's the guy that's funding it, basically.
Yeah.
So if you're at SpaceX and you're like, so that's not possible. Okay, well, you're fired.
You're fired. Give me a guy who says yes.
A guy who says yes who might be less qualified and also isn't going to come through with this, but at least he will say
yes. And isn't a woman unless she wants to get pregnant.
In which case is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why anyone's even entertaining the bullshit from a guy whose most notable accomplishment was co-founding a submersible company that killed a bunch of people after being warned for years by experts that they were going to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. But, why are we listening to this man?
He's enjoying his moment in the sun.
Why are you entertaining this guy's
For
dreams?
us, it's funny because it's like, wow, this guy is a total nut job. He's got big ideas. And most of those big ideas seem like they're lifted from decades-old movies and TV shows. But, that aging brain is really up to something.
I mean, listen, science fiction is a lot more exciting than actual science.
Yeah.
Things are possible in science fiction that are otherwise just not possible.
That's the problem is everyone
in real science.
Everyone with money are the types of people going, where's my jetpack?
Yeah.
Where's my flying car?
Where's my hoverboard?
Instead of like, oh shit, we should probably like figure out how to get the CO2 levels down.
Yeah,
there's lots of poisoned water and there's a lot going on we should probably fix first. But no, they're like, I want a hoverboard.
2, 1.
Yeah, we're fucked. But enough of these billionaire pipe dreams. Let's check in on how things are going down here on Earth, specifically here in the United States of America, where for the past 2 weeks, the question on everyone's mind has been, will Joe Biden drop out of the presidential race? And honestly, after that disastrous debate performance and those many, many calls from an increasing number of prominent figures telling him to please, 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 I love you, would you please drop out? We kind of figured it would have happened by now.
Yeah.
That's on me for being optimistic about fucking anything.
I said right when I was like, this needs to happen fast, or the Democrats are very good at being like, oh, that old thing?
But no, it has not happened, and it increasingly looks like it won't. So on Thursday, following a NATO summit, it was announced that Biden would hold a rare solo press conference.
Allied
Oh my
forces
God,
on
what could it be
Zone
about?
B.
The hype around the possibility that he would use this opportunity to step aside led to an unusually high number of people tuning in.
There were so many people on Twitter being like, God damn it, I've been tricked into watching the nightly news.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he didn't do it. Now, most of the questions from the press were specifically about whether he would stay in the race, of course. And he was steadfast and stubborn in his insistence that he is totally equipped to be running this country when he is 86 years old.
Yeah, the press conference was, I mean, at least for us, less than reassuring.
Yeah.
And we got a taste of what was to come a few hours earlier during a NATO summit a press conference where this happened.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You can beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway.
Okay, so introducing a close ally by the name of his mortal enemy, not great. Hopefully he got that kind of thing out of his system and didn't do anything like that at the next press conference where the whole nation was watching.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president. I think she's not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one.
Okay. Mixing up Kamala Harris with Donald Trump, that's also not great.
Allies are capturing Zone
Luckily,
A.
members of the press took this as an opportunity to ask how old Joe Biden's brain is doing.
I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, the reason is February. And they say I'm in good shape.
Okay, yeah. Very reassuring.
Yeah, it's always cool when someone's like, yeah, actually my brain is working great, and to demonstrate, I will now short circuit for like 10 seconds in front of all of you.
So we already know the answer, but it sounds like letting the vice president replace you on the ticket is off the table.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win.
Be advised, Zone A in danger.
No one's saying that. No poll says that.
I love when he does that whispering voice.
It's creepy.
I'm sure all of his advisors, they're like, Joe, you got to do the whispering voice even more. The people love it. When you get real whispery, and your mouth opens up like that Titan with the big mouth and all the teeth.
Find me an economist that'll tell you I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because every question that he answered, it was.
We secured the zone.
I'm fucking Joe Biden. Stop the malarkey, Jack. Stop the polls. Don't say that, Jack.
Zone B is compromised.
I'll have to thank my Vice President Trump. I didn't say that.
We're taking B.
I'm Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Hey. Hey, Jack.
Zone contested.
Hey, Jack.
Allies taking Zone A.
I'm Joe Biden, Jack. Polls don't say, none of the polls say that. None of the polls say that, Jack. Larky ASMR from Joe Biden. Polls don't say that, Jack.
Be advised, hostile echelon has your current coordinates.
Answered in a way that, like,
Orders are to take all the zones
he
and
is
keep them
self-congratulating,
secure.
which, like, in some cases with his policy agendas, he deserves to congratulate himself. Sure. But he wasn't answering the actual question, which is, okay, in a lot of people's minds, you've done a great job why not step down now? And instead, he was just like, we're doing a great job and we're going to keep doing a great job. It's like, okay, but we don't need you. And we're going to trick you into talking about Kamala in a second, even though we've asked 3 times and you haven't even brought it up. We're going to force you to say good things about her. And then he finally did. But yes, it was very weird, very awkward. And I get the whole, like, okay, people mix up names all the time. But the problem is, if this was once a month, once a week maybe.
This is twice in the span of like an hour.
Yes, and there already wasn't a microscope on this guy because of the numerous shortcomings.
And this is him very consciously trying to appear like he's not senile. And still coming out looking kind of senile.
It seems as though that people are giving him more chances. Like, all right, you got the NATO press conference. The whole country's watching again. You want a bump or something? You want to...
Please, give him a bump.
Yeah.
And look, listen, these were the worst moments of the press conference. It wasn't all that bad, but it also was never great.
No. He sounded like a little more energetic, I guess.
At some parts, he had a part that, like, well, first of all, he has this, like, just cadence, this way of speaking that makes you want to fall asleep.
Yes. He should be reading for, like, those sleepy time apps instead of being president.
He did have a moment where everyone who had, like, fallen asleep in the classroom, like, jolted up because he started yelling about guns.
Yeah.
Kind of out of nowhere.
Did you see the clip of, was it Blinken and them reacting when he called Vice President Trump?
No. Was this real?
Yes. They're sitting there, like, staring and just going...
Enemy network compromised.
But yeah, regardless of what the blue and on people are saying, it wasn't impressive. I mean, it's like, yeah, he did the bare minimum. He got up there and gave basically a 6th grader's book report on what NATO is and what the current issues NATO is facing are.
I think it was very telling that in one conversation he said, he's like, I spoke with all the world leaders and they didn't sound like they were concerned about my age. They just said, we really hope that the Democrats win. And it's like, I think they're saying in a roundabout way. They're trying to tell you without being so direct.
That is the central issue here that people are really putting on their blinders for. It's just like, oh, you want Joe Biden to drop out because you want the Democrats to lose. It's like, no,
we want them to win.
Everyone asking him to drop out is saying because they want the Democrats to win. They don't think Joe Biden. Anyway, he seemed old up there because he is, in fact, very old. It's not something that's he cannot stop seeming old because he's old. He trailed off, he lost his train of thought, spoke slowly and quietly. There was a lot of pauses and then, anyway.
Yeah.
And, on and on. And yeah, polling after the press conference shows that for likely voters, the gaffes are what stood out. Yeah. And you can say, oh, that's just because the media focused on that. And you're not wrong, but also it's the fucking candidate's job
targeting zone
not to give the media ammunition.
It's the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Currently.
But yeah, in general, it wasn't a total disaster. So yeah, the consensus seems to be that this is maybe the worst possible outcome, which is it was bad enough that it did not change anyone's mind. It didn't reassure anyone who had concerns about Biden's age that it's not an issue, but it also wasn't bad enough to decisively disqualify him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're stuck with him, and it's increasingly looking like that. I mean, following the debate, there were a few more calls from House Democrats for Biden to step down, like minutes after the debate.
What about the supergroup, though? They got the supergroup together.
We're going to get to that. Sounds like there's going to be more calls for him to step down.
Yeah.
And yeah, here's the Daily Beast on the supergroup, the Democratic Avengers.
Yeah. The latest plan to try and force President Joe Biden to drop out of the presidential race would see a group of heavyweight super friends from the top of the Democratic Party head to the White House together to speak with a united voice and tell him that time is up.
Literal intervention.
The super friends are assembling, a House Democrat told Politico. There's a group of people who are going to go make their case to whomever they can get to at the White House that he needs to step aside, and we're going to get our asses kicked if he doesn't.
I like that they subtly revealed that they can't get an audience with Joe Biden.
So like, whoever will listen.
Which has apparently been a big issue is... And it's one of the reasons why people are suddenly concerned is because, like, for the last year, he has sort of insulated himself. Yeah. Like, very few people, even within the party, have had, like, one-on-one
conversations. That Wall Street Journal article where it was like, okay, why hasn't the press known about this? And it goes through the very meticulous process of them seemingly deliberately hiding the fact that Joe Biden is sundown.
Well, even staff within the White House, like you cannot.
Yeah.
No one has direct contact with Biden.
It's a bad situation.
And it's his wife's personal staff who are like, you got to talk to one of them if you want to get any message to him.
Yeah. The plan would see a group of Biden's oldest and most senior Democratic colleagues come together to make a definitive statement on behalf of the party that it would be damaging if the president were to continue. It is hoped that the team would include Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, President pro tempore Patty Murray, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Representative Jim Clyburn. Some of Biden's top supporters, including former President Barack Obama, are reportedly working on getting Biden to quit the race, but there is no clarity on who would take over or by what mechanism they should be selected. He's lost Barry?
I knew Barack Obama was in the tank for Trump.
Oh yeah, that's him.
I knew that
and he's racist.
The Senate Majority Leader, the House Minority Leader,
the
former House Speaker, and the head of the Congressional Black Caucus were all secretly in the tank for Trump.
Roger. I think that they should go, Biden, you know what? You're old, we're old. Let's all quit together.
Team deathmatch.
I mean, yeah.
No need to keep a low
That's the thing.
profile.
Like,
Because how are you going to be Biden and be like, Nancy, have you looked in the mirror lately?
But that's the thing. Like, so when Nancy Pelosi, when she did that like wishy-washy thing the other day, people were like, "Well, why doesn't Nancy quit?" And it's like, she kind of did 2 years ago when she like voluntarily stepped down from being the leader of the House Democrats, and she had a very like graceful speech where, like, it's been a joke recently where people start quoting Nancy Pelosi, the speech she gave when she stepped down. It's like Joe Biden just now. Oh, sorry, that was Nancy Pelosi 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, to her credit, yeah, at least she did do that. She
should retire too, because she is old as shit. But
at least she doesn't have the same legacy that the end of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Dianne Feinstein had. Now hanging over them like a cloud.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see if any of this turns out to be true. I don't know. At this point, I'm not holding my breath. I
still think it's gonna happen, but
I want to think it will happen.
Yeah.
But
we're coming at this from a place of love for our country.
Yeah. I really don't want Trump to be president again.
Yeah.
It terrifies me, and
that's why Joe Biden should sit
What
down.
terrifies me about it is that it seems entirely avoidable. Trump, like Biden, isn't popular, but neither is Trump.
Yeah.
It seems that voters are presented with two options that no one really likes, and it would be nice to maybe change things up to give them just any reason to care.
This is the easiest probably problem I would ever have.
Yeah. Run him home. But yeah, it's clear that no matter how emphatically Biden insists he ain't leaving, a lot of people in his party still really, really want him to leave.
It's becoming very sad.
Yeah,
because he had a chance to just be like, oh yeah, okay. And now it's like, it actually feels bad. It doesn't for me, but like for him, it must. Like, shit.
So yeah, they want him to leave again because they believe that if he doesn't, the Democrats are not only going to lose the presidency, but also possibly both houses of Congress, which would be the nightmare scenario if Trump comes in with full control of the government. It's a real shit show. And right now, we could really use a good distraction. So let's shift from U.S. politics to UK politics. Now, the Labour Party, of course, won control of Parliament last week for the first time in 14 years. But we care less about the party politics over there than we do about our favorite aspect of UK elections, the characters.
Yeah.
In every UK election, you get uptight, career politicians standing on stage next to their opponents. And those opponents are oftentimes a bit strange. For example, here's Keir Starmer, the UK's new Prime Minister, right after winning his election.
Lastly, I'd like to pay tribute to my fellow candidates who put themselves forward for public service. Because in this room, right here, beats the heart of our democracy.
Yeah, that was the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom saying, in this room right here beats the heart of our democracy, while standing next to a guy in an Elmo costume and another guy in a weird comically large hat. It's a funny hat. It's funny because it's big.
It's a big hat.
And here's former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who won his race but lost the job as PM, up on stage next to Count Binface, some sort of ventriloquist, and a guy in sunglasses holding up the letter L.
Just right behind him, holding up an L the entire speech. Incredible. You couldn't do that in America.
No. And then there's Jacob Rees-Mogg, a real fancy boy who just got voted out of office after 14 years, forced to endure his humiliating defeat while standing next to a man wearing what can perhaps be best described as a breakfast mask. It is an English breakfast though, so it's mostly beans.
But there's like eggs, bacon, a fried tomato. It's all there.
So say what you will about UK politics, but you can't deny that their voters have more options than we do. And right now that makes us feel very jealous.
Yeah. I mean, we have RFK. He's basically our breakfast man.
It is
but
so
it's less
funny.
fun. I wish RFK was wearing the breakfast mask.
Yeah, it should speak volume about the RFK campaign that in the last 2 weeks.
I looked at the polling this morning and it has not moved a fucking inch.
If there was ever, even you delusional fucks that are hate watching this show, if there was ever a smidge of a chance that RFK could move the needle at all, it would have been within the last 2 weeks. And guess what?
He's flatlined for the last 6 months. Like, it has not moved.
This was his one, and it wasn't even a shot. But if there was a shot in hell, this was his one shot, and he failed to capitalize on it. Instead, the man has wasted millions of dollars.
Well, millions of someone else's money. Sergey Brin's ex-wife's money.
And his own time and mental health to just walk out and start airing his dirty laundry all over America.
Yeah. But I think for him that is good for his mental health. He's a Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's a fucking weirdo.
It's all out there.
And this weirdly makes him feel happy and fulfilled. Sure. He's gonna run for every election for the rest of his life.
What can I say? I love it. I'm addicted to running.
I have so many more skeletons in my closet that you haven't even gotten to.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the king of Mars.
Yeah. Anyways, before we move on to the headlines half of the show, it is time to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Factor. Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals.
All right, now we're into the headlines half of the show. It's been 2 weeks, a week and a half, no headlines. So let's get some good ones here. We got the weirdest, craziest
line them up.
Headlines from around the world, starting with
hippopotamuses can become airborne for substantial periods of time, researchers discover.
Don't tell me how. I'm going to immediately assume it's that they spin their tail really fast and they fly away like a helicopter.
I mean, I'd like to. That might be it. They don't know how or why. Also, when they say substantial, it's like half a second. But
like galloping.
Yeah, but apparently that's weird because every other animal that weighs, like, they're like thousands of pounds. Every other animal that weighs that much, even when they're moving fast, they always have like at least 1 foot on the ground. Whereas hippos, it's more like dogs and horses, where at a certain gait, they're fully off the ground, which is crazy. Like, but it makes sense.
They're terrifying animals.
Like, as a kid, you're scared of lions and bears and T-Rexes. As an adult, like, hippopotamus is just the
I'll never be around one. But.
Absolute freak of the animal kingdom. Like, this is an animal that someone would come up with for like a fantasy novel, not something real life. They're like, it can run like 30 miles an hour. Its mouth is like as big as a fucking car.
A bazillion pounds.
It can run in water.
That's where it probably gets the good running from because it runs in water. That's how it gets around.
It's so heavy that it falls to the bottom of the river.
And just walks normal.
It runs down there.
And so when it gets on land,
it can jump up.
When it gets on land, it's like taking the weights off. You can zoom.
Just an absolute freak of nature.
You ever seen the video of the hippo pooping and its tail goes spinning?
Oh, classic.
Yeah, so that's how then it takes off and floats away.
I mean, a flying hippo. That's
You seen videos of them eating whole watermelons in one bite?
Yeah, watermelons and pumpkins. They just toss them in there. Bop.
Yeah, fucking scary, dude.
Yeah, that's your skull.
And now they're flying.
Yeah.
The co-founder of OceanGate said, "What if I could make hippos fly?" And he fucking did it, folks.
It'd be over for us.
Yeah, he joked.
If they could legitimately fly, if they gave hippos wings.
Well, it would immediately be over for Colombia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all of Pablo Escobar's hippos
Pablo Escobar.
They would take off and leave.
Yeah.
Flight diverted after man exposed himself and urinated in the aisle of the aircraft, prosecutors say.
And there was pictures of this.
Did you see the one where the person's hand is in the thing? This is the guy. It's like a cop entering the plane and looking at him, and there's just a stewardess hand like...
He's like right by the exit.
It looks like first class.
Yeah. He's at least in like, that front row where there's no seat in front of you. And yeah, he's just fully standing up there with his hog out, pissing in the aisle.
Yeah.
Not really sure why. Apparently he's like, I had a few drinks. That's not going to get you out of this.
It is always it is always drinks and fucking Ambien or anxiety medication.
Don't do it.
Because it causes you to fucking black out and you don't know what you're doing. It's like, there was like I forget, he was in like one of the Twilight movies or something. The guy that like was just walking around LAX and then just stopped and pissed on the carpet.
What?
Yeah, and he ended up being on like something like that.
Jesus.
This was 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, anytime I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, the lady that saw someone that wasn't real probably had like an Ambien or something, or like a Xanax and had a glass of wine.
I wish this guy wasn't real.
Yeah.
I bet he does too, because not only are you like never flying again, you're going on the like sex offender list.
Yeah.
You can't pull your dick out and start peeing in front of people. A plane full of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, it's just very annoying because now everyone's late.
Yeah. They had to divert the plane, and some poor fucking sad sack of shit had to come and sop up this man's piss.
The photo's still good though.
It's a great photo. Yep, this is the guy right here.
Right there.
Jackass star Steve-O set to undergo D-cup breast augmentation.
He also let what's his name, the tattooed face singer, Post Malone. He also let Post Malone do a tattoo on his face of a penis. And it's just like, Steve-O, like, things are going so well.
His life is a spectacle, though. This is all part of the
but he's
plan.
just doing stand-up and storytelling and stuff now.
Yeah, he doesn't. I agree that he doesn't need to do any of this shit. But the thing with the boobs, he's just like, yeah, it would be funny. No one's ever done that before, just as a goof.
Yeah, but he regrets a bunch of stuff that he's done.
I mean, at least with breast implants, it is reversible.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, I'll do it for like a month and then have them removed.
On
It'd
the
be
other
funny.
hand, like he does a bunch of the coolest shit. Like, first of all, congrats! What an amazing sober story. Probably one of the most like notable success stories of a generation.
Well, this is the thing. He gave up drugs and alcohol, and now he's got to go.
He's not doing as much adrenaline stuff.
He's got to go to extreme lengths to achieve that same sense of purpose.
So he moved away from LA and built. He got some property and he built on this new land like a skateboard barn. And it's a half pipe in it, but that's not crazy. What's amazing is that because he's old like all of us.
Yeah.
He built this thing on the half pipe where it's like a rope.
Oh.
And it's tied to the roof, so he can't fall. So he can put his balance on that, so he can learn tricks really easily by holding on to it.
Oh,
and then he just ditches
really cool,
it, and it's you build your muscle memory. Yeah, I want to try it so bad because I really love half pipes.
Yeah.
But I'm scared of legitimately hurting myself now.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I bet I could still do a little blunt stall or a rock and roll. I can do a 5-0.
I know two separate people my age, two friends who in the past year have like just shattered fucking bones because they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go skateboard.
Yeah, just hit your hand.
Yeah.
Just shatter your wrist.
Like,
that's why I don't do it. It's scary. Like a 2-foot fall and you could like debilitate yourself.
Yeah, you had soft bones as a kid. You don't have soft bones anymore. You got hard bones.
Yeah. Ugh.
In other celebrity news, Justin Timberlake is opening a sports bar with Tiger Woods. Gonna call it the fucking DUI Grill.
Yeah, it have a menu just like the heart attack grill where everything is like it's the level of what you're gonna blow on the breathalyzer on the way home.
They got breathalyzers at the table. Yeah, I guess they're both part of some like restaurant investors group, but it was a perfect opportunity for this article to feature both of their mugshots side by side.
Yeah. A great story about a bar like that when I was growing up. There was a breathalyzer machine near the front where you could take a straw and you blow into it. And we would like see how drunk we could get and see how high score we could get. And then what we used to do, we also had indoor go-karting at this place.
Coming out of the woodwork.
And we would get wasted and go go-kart racing. And then they put the breathalyzer in front of the go-kart racing so we had to blow to be able to drive the go-karts. Because it was such a problem that everyone was drunk driving the go-kart.
I mean, yeah, that would become a problem for you. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Let's all blow a DUI level breathalyzer and then see who's better at driving drunk.
They also used to have a toy train that went around the top of the bar, and we'd flick pennies up to try to derail it.
Wow, sounds like you guys are terrible customers.
Yeah, they're awful. Bob's Burgers actor pleads guilty to interfering with police during Capitol riot.
It's a subplot of January 6th that I like every 6 months I'd be like, hey, what happened with that? And I only realized this recently going through my Google Photos. I have a photo with a convicted January 6th rioter.
Canceled.
It's me and my wife, because he did a voice on an animated show that my wife worked on like 10 years ago.
Complicit. You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember I met him. He was a nice guy. He seemed like a child. Like, hey, I loved you in Mr. Show. And then, yeah, he, I don't know what happened, but he went to the Capitol.
He walked away from me. He was like, "That I fucking hate Liz."
Yeah. He stole like a cop's shield. Like he's facing up to like 5 years in prison. I don't think he'll get that much, but like.
Well, don't worry,
Jesus Christ,
when he gets out, there's a whole animation block of Daily Wire shows he can do voice.
Yeah, he can be on like whatever the next Mr. Bertram is, or what? Have you seen that animated show, the South Park of X?
Oh yeah, and Elon's in the title sequence?
Yeah, I can't even remember the title. It's like Cranky Grandpa, something like that. It's terrible.
My non-binary granddaughter's taking me out to the woke food fair.
Yeah,
so those are the jokes.
It's just every conservative, like, one joke you can think of.
The reaction that I've seen is that also conservatives fucking hate it too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, these jokes are like kind of old and dated.
There was a theory. They're like, this is something libs made this to make conservatives look bad.
Always the best compliment, you know? Really nailed it.
This is so fucking god-awful that there's no way a conservative actually made this. Clearly, this was done to trick people into thinking conservatives aren't funny.
Yeah. Well, it worked.
Yeah. Texans use Whataburger app to track power outages caused by Hurricane Beryl.
What?
And the reason they're using that app is because none of the power companies, the actual power companies in Texas, have any way of tracking
Yeah, because that wouldn't be profitable to make an app of like that. That would cost money. And being isolated on their own power grid costs a lot of money, you know? So we can't be doing fancy stuff like that. So, you know, why don't you just download the Whataburger app?
Yeah, this is similar. What's the hurricane?
Waffle House.
Yeah, the Waffle House hurricane warning system.
Yeah, this is Texas's version of that. Like, oh, well, if the Whataburger's closed, then the power must be out.
Yeah.
So, oh, well.
Sounds like they had a bad time over in Texas. They're like weird. Like 2 years after like the worst winter storm in history, we get like the worst summer storm in history.
And they had a bunch of shark attacks like last week or the week before too.
God.
Yeah. God really has it in for Texas.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Greg Abbott's like overseas.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's keep him that way.
He might be back now, but yeah, no, it is interesting that America relies on its fast food industry to alert its citizenry of emergency situations.
The backbone of our democracy.
It would be like here if it's like, fuck, was that an earthquake? Was that a big one? We should check and see if In-N-Out's open.
That's the thing is earthquakes, they're fine. They don't really do anything.
Well.
Not yet.
Yeah, wait till the In-N-Out's closed down, then you'll know.
Yeah. Vending machines for ammunition have hit grocery stores across the South.
And so this has some AI aspect to it, or no?
Yeah, it's got supposedly. It might just be marketing, but they're like, yeah, and like we did everything to make sure that like a child can't just walk up to this machine and buy ammunition. But yeah, I guess a couple of the towns that these have been installed in are like, no, we have to get rid of this. Like, there's like way too much fucking liability here. You can't just have a machine sell people bullets.
I would assume you could just probably break into it like any other machine and steal the bullets.
It's like, first of all any place where this is in a supermarket, there are like 10 fucking guns and ammo stores within a quarter mile.
But you want to be discreet.
Yeah, I'm getting my groceries, and you know what? I am a little bit short.
They should just sell them loose in the store, like and just put the censored bars over it, like the porno mags. They just put like the black plate in front of it.
It should be like
kids can't see it.
In like the big candy stores where they're in like a big thing.
Scoop?
You get a bag and you turn the knob to open it and it pours out into your bag and then you take it to the checkout and they weigh it.
It's like the barrels at like Whole Foods or Sprouts. Just like, all right.
Yeah.
I got my bullets. There we go. I mean, it was a year ago that I went to Sturgis and I had the picture where it's like t-shirts, $10. 2 24 packs of ammunition, $10.
Yeah.
It's wild.
You never know when you're going to need
hundreds of rounds of ammunition.
Donald Trump's campaign asked disgraced Firefest founder Billy McFarland for help wooing rappers.
I know my boy Billy's got an inside track.
2 felons, just,
scheming,
putting their heads together. And it is. Donald Trump has surprisingly gotten a lot of support from
the criminal community?
The criminal community, and also just like rappers. A lot of, it's just idiots. He appeals to fucking morons. And he's gotten a lot of rappers to show up at his events.
I mean, years ago, we were like, the 2 felons who are going to come together, it's going to be Martin Shkreli and Billy McFarland. Little did we know, if we just waited long enough, that Trump and Billy McFarland, 2 felons, would finally come together.
2 felons.
Yeah. I got a beautiful location for your next fire festival. Mar-a-Lago. Report. Customer urinates on $500 worth of sandwiches at Boardman store.
It was Boardman, Ohio.
Okay.
And yeah, it's one of those local news articles that really doesn't provide a lot of information.
That's a lot of sandwiches.
Yeah, I guess they were in like a case or on the counter, like maybe a big catering order went in, and this guy just walked up and just pissed over all of them. $500 worth of sandwiches.
This would have actually been a really good bit if they showed the picture and it was just like 2 sandwiches and like, this is Joe Biden's economy. This is what $500 looks like.
Yeah.
And he pissed all over these sandwiches.
This is why we got to go back to the gold standard.
Oh, well, at least it wasn't on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to piss on $500 worth of sandwiches, do not piss in the aisle of the plane. You're going to regret it.
Yeah, that's right. California nudists rescue tourists from blowtorch-wielding pirate guy in caught-on-camera showdown. Okay.
None of these words are in the Bible. This was so up in San Francisco. Yeah, it's legal to be naked.
Yeah, well, duh.
And if you walk around certain neighborhoods, you will. It's always the people you don't want to see naked. It's always dudes in their 70s who have been hippies their whole lives and just walk around. It is kind of funny. They usually have a hat on. Hat and sunglasses, and then just the rest is naked.
Yeah.
They walk around, and it's I guess it's normal up there. But yeah, recently two old naked guys stopped a pirate guy who had a blowtorch from assaulting people. They're heroes. Naked heroes.
That's right.
Naked justice.
Might be a problem.
And yeah, that's San Francisco, baby.
So in San Francisco, actually, I don't think you can urinate. But you can be at least naked. You can at least have your fang out.
People do urinate. They have a big piss problem.
I know.
Just like every major city, because there's no toilets.
Yeah.
Oh my God, why is everyone pissing and shitting on the street? Because they have nowhere else to go.
Yep.
Why don't you build some bathrooms? Oh yeah, they did, and it costs like $1 million.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
It's insane. It is absolutely crazy that in every major city, there's just nowhere to take a piss.
It's like in fucking China, they can build like a high-speed train between 2 major cities in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And we can't even build a fucking bathroom.
Or a trash can that doesn't cost $1 million worth of research.
What are we doing?
I did see the best solution for our high-speed rail problem on Twitter was we should just paint all of our Amtraks with motion blur to make it seem like they're going.
That is clever.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for Weekly Weird News this week. We'll be back soon with more episodes. But in the meantime, watch our other videos that we did this week. And we will see you very soon. We got first like the video.
Yeah, come on.
Make sure you're liking the video. It really helps the channel out. We didn't lead with Biden today, so give us a like for that. And please leave a comment, reply to a comment, share with your friends. We're posting reels on Instagram now.
Yeah, for real.
Until I get bored of doing it. So check out now while it lasts on our Instagram. It's down below. And now you can watch the other videos that are popping up there. We have 2 for you. And we'll be back next week for more.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gunshots at the Trump rally? Shut the fuck up. Where? Give me a link now. They went crazy.
Clearly,
he's still throwing up fists while they're putting him in the fucking car, bro.
This
Stop throwing
time,
up
the
the
president
fist. Every fist is another 10,000 in a fucking red state, a key state turning into a red state. He's clip farming harder than Jinxie. He keeps throwing up his fucking fist. It's over.
Front row showing the blood on former.
You think they'll go for gun control after this?
The former president was
okay. Never mind. They were chanting USA, USA. They're probably not, right?
Feeling a lot of rage from people right now as everyone is trying to process.
Bitch, what do you mean? Don't politicize the former president getting shot with a gun. Unbowed assassination attempt victim who showed poise and courage right after nearly being killed versus a guy who can't remember his friends' names is beyond over. No, it has never been more Jover than it is at this very moment. Gunshots at the Trump rally? Shut the fuck up. Where? Give me a link now. for people asking, I joked and I said, like, maybe there'll be gun reform now. Okay, that was a joke. But if you're asking about that question seriously, the only type of gun reform that they're going to engage in now is going to be extra guns, okay? Every baby to a Republican family must be armed with an RPG, okay? We need rocket launchers.